to rectangles that heat food and those that can fit right in one's pocket.
From the moment Americans wake up, they are captivated by these bright, pulsing rectangles. In fact, if you look at the data, it's hard to find a single minute when the public isn't captivated by these, excuse me. I'm sorry, where were we?
In local news, a run-over squirrel is remembered as frantic and indecisive. And in other news, a trail of rose petals leads a wife to a sink full of dishes. Prince Fielder reports to spring training exactly the right amount overweight, and a local yard sale reeks of divorce. If you don't hear the sound of my voice the same time next week, alert my family and then visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're kicking off yet another show here. We do them 7 nights a week, which means we're here constantly taking your phone calls about whatever is on your mind. If you want to join us, you can do that. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
So it looks like a Bitcoiner might be running for president, Mark.
Yes.
Somebody who we've actually interviewed in the past.
Somebody who was on the, is it Amazing Ducks?
Was it the Mighty Ducks?
Mighty
he was
Ducks?
in some kind of like child star thing. Yeah. Apparently a couple movies back in the mid-1990s. His name is Brock Pierce.
Yep.
And he's apparently throwing his hat into the ring for the 2020 presidential race.
Well, I support him, although I have some questions.
Like, can he qualify for any ballot access?
Yes, that question.
Yeah, that was
the big question, yeah.
What other questions did you have?
No, that's pretty much it. I like at this point, 2020, any functioning adult, Biden, Trump out, Joe Jorgensen, the Libertarian candidate, yes, in. I know nothing about the Green candidate.
I don't know if they've chosen one. Have they chosen one?
There's a presumptive he.
Okay.
That maybe
that'll be a change for the Greens.
Yeah, changing from Dr. Jill, whatever her name
Jill
is.
Stein.
Jill Stein. And, if Brock Pierce or Kanye West manage to pull this off, well, great. Now, by the way, Kanye West does not fit into the category of functioning adult. Wait, hold up. I'm going to let you finish.
Looks like Green Party co-founder Howie Hawkins became their presumptive nominee, but that was a couple of weeks ago, so I don't know what the status of that is. So Brock Pierce did not run for the Green Party nomination. He did not run for the Libertarian Party nomination. Of course, crypto advocate John McAfee did run for the Libertarian Party nomination, but
there was that whole gun running in the Dominican Republic thing, so that's tough.
Well, no, that wasn't his issue. His issue was he didn't show up.
I understand.
So, because he's on the run from the United States federal government who wants to arrest him for something, I'm not real clear what. But
that's kind of what I'm talking about here. Like, he didn't show up for a reason.
Yeah, no, he's not inside the United States. I don't know if that had to do with the Dominican Republic or if it was some sort of local thing. I heard that it was the IRS that was after him for some sort of a tax thing. That's what he was saying, at least from the safety of his boat in international waters. So he wasn't there.
I do love that guy.
He wasn't there for the debate, I guess, or the final run through the Libertarian Party's nominating process, and they nominated Jo Jorgensen, who's
Seems like a fine choice. Yeah,
and she really is. She's like an actual
doctor. To get the two of us to agree on a candidate at this point is pretty impressive. I mean, the Libertarians pulled it off. We haven't agreed on a candidate in years.
They just screwed it up the last 3 times. So this time they actually got an actual sounding Libertarian person to that particular nomination. So good for them. We actually had Jo on the show just a few days, I think, after she got nominated, and it was a great interview. She described herself. When I asked her, I said, "Are you a Harry Brown libertarian or a Gary Johnson libertarian?" And referencing 2 former presidential candidates who were in no way, shape, or form similar. And she described herself as a Harry Brown libertarian. So
seems better than a Bob Barr libertarian.
Yeah, I think most people want to forget about that year. That was the 2008 miserable choice where the Libertarian Party nominated a former Republican and former CIA head, as I understand it, Bob Barr.
Former drug warrior.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how they could have picked someone worse, but anyway, here we are in 2020, where now child actor turned cryptocurrency entrepreneur Brock Pierce, who's 39 years old, announced he will be running in the 2020 presidential race as an independent candidate. This is according to People magazine, people.com. He said in a statement, quote, I've spent my life creating great things from nothing, and I can help others do the same. Entrepreneurs are essential to the rebuilding of this nation that we love, and I'm running in this race because I know that together we can help build a pathway towards the rebirth of the America that we love so much. Didn't he move to Puerto Rico?
I believe he did.
Yeah, didn't I hear that he was one of the crypto people? Like there's some sort of benefit to being a crypto person from
capital gains distributions. One of the Puerto Rico benefits from not only its proximity to the United States, meaning it's 3 hours from Florida, but some great tax laws. Saipan likely has a better tax setup for most people, the vast majority of people. However, it is a 15-hour flight at best.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
In most cases, 24. I don't even know what's going on over there now.
There's a
Saipan
lot.
being the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, that is a U.S. territory. They have a representative. They cannot vote for president, or nor do they have senators.
There's a lot more people in Puerto Rico, so if you want to have an impact in a place, Saipan seems to be the way to go.
Sure, yeah.
On that one.
As long as you don't want to run for office, because you're not going to win.
No, you got to be a native to do that.
Basically, that's the bias, is that you've got to be a native. Or
Don't
at the
you
very
think there's
least,
a similar bias in Puerto Rico, or no?
I suspect if you're going to go to either one of these places, change your last name to something Hispanic.
Okay.
And then, who knows?
Teres. Rodriguez.
You might, for
Juan.
instance, not the first
Juan
name.
Rodriguez.
No, you'd want to go Henry Rodriguez.
Oh, something American-sounding first name?
Yeah.
It's an island thing, huh?
That island.
Yeah.
I don't promise you anything about any other islands.
Unlike Democratic and Republican candidates, in order to get on the ballot, independent candidates face different requirements in all 50 states, including filing deadlines and signature requirements. Some states may also allow candidates to pay a filing fee in order to get on the ballot. Now, this is something the Libertarians are grappling with as we speak. I actually just called my former attorney this week, John Meyer, who took the freedom of speech case with the Robin Hooders here in Keene, New Hampshire, that were sued by the town government for filling people's parking meters. He took that on a free speech basis and pro bono, and great attorney, just one of the premier free speech attorneys up here in New Hampshire. Turns out he's taken the case of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. I did not realize that was happening. I just happened to get him on the phone this week for another reason, and he told me he was in the midst of working on the Libertarians' case because they are having to sue the state government over the ballot access requirements, which require thousands of signatures to be gathered between.
And people aren't allowed out at the same time. So the normal rules that the states have, as draconian, as specious, as frankly immoral as they are,
unfair,
are now a hurdle that is
now
far
it's
too
10
high.
times more difficult. I mean, it was already difficult. Now it's maybe more than 10 times more difficult now to get out there and to actually talk to people in the streets to get their signature on one of these things is going to be nigh impossible.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there like me that only want to vote for somebody who has a statistical chance of winning. And that's just my preference.
Mm-hmm. And when you say statistical chance, you mean qualified on enough presidential ballots across the United States to actually be able to theoretically win. You don't mean that they actually have a chance of winning.
Right. I think that, if they were in enough states that they had enough electoral college
I think
vote
you have to have
things.
like 36 states or something like that.
The right 36 states.
Yeah, right.
And if they managed to do that, then okay. They got my, I'll consider them as a vote.
And most of the time, the Libertarians have done that. In our lifetime, I believe every year. There have been a few years in the last 20 where they haven't gotten all 50, where they've gotten like 49 or 48 or something close to that. But they've always been qualified, and in some cases on all 50 state ballots.
Right, and I don't, when it comes to the Libertarians, it's not like I vote all the way down up and down the ballot for the Libertarians or anything like that. I'm not that kind of voter.
Most of the time you can't. There aren't that many candidates.
But I have voted up and down the ballot for them. Mm-hmm. And if the candidate, when it comes to president, I understand statistically my vote is inconsequential. Your vote is inconsequential. I'm in a state that actually matters, a swing state, and I'm in like 1 in 10 million. I got a better chance of winning the lottery here than I do of my vote mattering in a presidential election. So what I say to people, especially people who aren't in a swing state, but by the way, if you're in a swing state, this still holds true for you, is who cares if your candidate can win? Because you should vote your heart.
Yeah.
You should vote for whomever you want to vote for.
Because your vote doesn't really matter in the scheme of things, but if you're voting for somebody that at least you agree with on most things or more things than the other candidates, then at least you don't feel as filthy. Because then otherwise you'd vote for one of these awful two.
I voted for Gary Johnson in the last election. He didn't win. I can now talk as much as I want to talk about either one of the other two candidates.
855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number. You can join us here on the radio, whether you want to talk about the difficulties libertarians and others are facing in getting on the ballot or whatever's on your mind. Coming up, a crazy court decision about the Native Americans. On the
News from news.bitcoin.com. BTC miners give off a signal of intending to sell. Does this mean a bear cycle? New Zealand police seized $91 million from a Russian exchange operator. Anti-crypto SEC head stepping down, making Bitcoin ETFs more likely. And you can make money by referring people to exchange.bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. The next generation wallet is coming from Divi. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divi, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divi already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit diviproject.org. diviproject.org.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone? You forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection. You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited here if you want to join us. You can. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And we've been talking about the difficulties that third parties face, and also independent candidates like Brock Pierce, who is a Bitcoiner and child actor who is no longer a child, but he's 39, who's running for president, he says.
I really don't like the idea that people running for president might be younger than me.
Well, the minimum age, I believe, is 35 years old, Mark.
That's right, and I'm 49. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
what doesn't happen? Are you saying he's not qualified, or just
no? I just don't like the idea.
You're just ageist.
No, I just don't like the idea that somebody
comes from ageism, right?
No. It's completely based on me. Has nothing to do with him. It's just his age we're talking about.
Sounds like ageism to me.
All right, whatever. You're
better because you're older.
No, I didn't claim that at all. No, that's not what my claim is. I'm uncomfortable with the notion that somebody is younger than me might be running for president. It's kind of like that same thing that happened. At some point or another, you were looking at Playboy magazines.
Yeah, I remember that. God, it's been a long
And then they got
time.
younger than you, as opposed to older.
Wait, the Playboy girls, you mean?
Yes, the Playboy girls were older than you at some point. And then they were younger than you at some point. There was, the sort of the same age.
I don't think I've seen a Playboy magazine since that time. I mean, I think the last time I looked at a Playboy magazine would have been in some form of government school, I think. I don't think I've looked at them as...
couldn't tell you how long it's been for me.
As an adult. At least I don't recall that. So anyway, if you want to join us here, you can. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live brought to you by Liberty.menu. It's a tool for the Liberty community out there. If you agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, if you are an individual who rejects the initiation of force, then you should be at Liberty.menu, where you can list the things that you do there, like your business or digital content you're the creator of, or maybe an event. Maybe if there's an event out there that's happening, you could list it there.
Wait, we still do events?
At Liberty.menu. Yeah, Liberty.menu has that. So head on over there, use code FTL, get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. That's Liberty.menu. So Brock Pierce looking at running, or saying he's running for president. Now, what drives a man to make a decision like this? You had suggested off the air, Mark, that it was a publicity stunt.
When was that?
Off the air.
When?
I don't know. Today? Yesterday?
I don't recall having said that at all.
No?
But I will say that I'm not yes, he's gotten publicity from it, so stunt successful.
He's in People magazine.
If you want me to assess that statement, that is not my statement. I do not claim that statement.
Maybe that wasn't you that said that, but I'm pretty sure I was only talking to you about it. But go ahead.
I don't recall having talked to you about it. What would drive a man? I would say it could be frustration.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the desire to sort of, hold the banner for cryptocurrency and be able to talk about it, so he could be an issue candidate.
Could be.
I know
presumably he's fairly wealthy.
He's probably pretty wealthy. He doesn't. He could afford to do the job without too much of a loss. Sure.
Can he afford the attorneys that it's going to take to try to get on all these different state ballots, to try to navigate this morass, this labyrinth of various different regulations, because each state has different rules. Some states, like Oklahoma, are notoriously difficult compared to others where it's just difficult. Usually it ranges from difficult to very difficult as far as the requirements that are completely arbitrary and put in front of these third-party
Here's what I would ask, ladies and gentlemen. I would ask you, what should the criteria be for somebody getting on a ballot in a given state? Now, I'm not saying you don't need to look it up. You don't need to do some legal research, because none of that matters. This is a moral question. Do the American people deserve to have a few choices as opposed to just, crooked old pervert 1 or crooked old pervert 2? And if we deserve to have those choices, now maybe you won't vote for them. But that doesn't matter. You certainly couldn't be so much of a partisan that you're like, keep those guys on the ballot that it might take away votes from this person or that person. I mean, because that's a pretty evil thing to do to your neighbor, right? To take away their choices because you don't like the idea that they might choose someone else.
There are those people out there. I mean, I've run across them when I've done petition drives. I've helped gather petitions over the years for various different candidates, and frequently people will simply refuse, because your first challenge, you got to find people qualified to sign in the first place.
Those people that believe that can choke on a foot-long hot dog, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. Well, they won't sign your petitions. They won't help, and they don't. To me, it's like, I don't care. I'll sign a petition for somebody even if I don't agree with what they're saying necessarily.
Well, if they're trying to do something to regulate people further, I will not sign their petition. If you're asking to put somebody on the ballot,
that's what I mean.
Sure, I'll go ahead and sign your petition just to get you on the ballot. That doesn't mean I'll vote for you, but I think that I think that the people on the ballot should have the option.
Although I think, if I recall correctly, even here in New Hampshire, I think you can only sign like one petition per, I don't know if it's per race or what. I think there's like actually a restriction. Like you can't just go around signing all the petitions.
God
for all
knows
the
you
candidates.
can't sign more than one petition to get more than one person on the ballot. So what do you think?
About?
What should be the criteria be? Do you think that just anybody who sends their name in?
Well, I don't think we should have a government. But,
I understand. But did you think that somehow that wish of yours is going to come true by November?
I don't know. Maybe I'll wake up in a different dimension tomorrow. I have no idea.
If you believe it's going to come true, you've already woken up in a different dimension. So
I don't know, Mark. I mean, it's all arbitrary. I mean, all the states have different rules. I don't even know what the requirements are here in New Hampshire. I couldn't even tell you.
I think that the requirements should be the same for every party that was previously on the ballot and should be achievable for anybody who wants to be on the ballot. I'd like to know somebody did some work or paid some money or put some kind of evidence of effort behind getting on the ballot, as opposed to just sort of filling out a piece of paper and sending their name in.
Okay, so you don't want them just paying money, because that is basically just filling out a piece of paper and sending your name in.
For some people it is, but very few of them. I mean, right? In New Hampshire, we usually only have 6 or 7 people run for president because it costs $1,000 to participate in the New Hampshire primary.
Well, now wait a minute. That's if you're running as a Republican or Democrat.
Okay.
So if you're talking about qualifying for ballot access as a third party or an independent, as Brock Pierce is doing, it's going to be a whole different ball of wax.
Right, but I'm talking about the primary, which is Republicans and Democrats. Very rarely do the Libertarians, are they involved in that?
That's because there's not a Libertarian primary that's run by the state. The Libertarians run their own primary.
I think there was one run here a couple of years ago.
Not for president. The Libertarians choose their own presidential pick in their own private convention. There was a Libertarian primary in, maybe it was the governor election? Yeah, I think it might have been governor.
And, this is just me trying to compromise a little bit. I think that if the choice was make it nearly impossible for a minor party candidate to get on the ballot, or to make it extraordinarily easy. I mean, if you're given this Hobson's choice that, it's just a piece of paper, then I'm going to go ahead and go for the extraordinarily easy, because that fits the intent.
That's a Hobson's choice.
It's not? Yeah. Two crappy choices isn't a Hobson's choice?
I thought that was just one choice.
Check that out for me. Yeah. Because I don't think the founders intended to keep people off the ballot. I don't think their goal was to give the voters the least amount of choices as possible. So 2 choices to me is an immoral number. 3 is only marginally better. I think we should have 5 or 6 or 7 choices for president.
855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You may take control of the airwaves here. Bring up whatever's on your mind here on Free Talk Live.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll free if you want to join us here on the radio. Our number for you is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. So feel free to jump into one of those. You'll sound almost like you're sitting here with us. Ethereum smart contracts enable Intercoin to be traded against Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as a growing set of tokens pegged to your favorite fiat currency. Intercoin can be used to turn these into virtual versions of Bitcoin or US dollars that have all the advanced features of Intercoin community currencies. They would finally be spendable in everyday payments, be programmable, instantly convertible, generate analytics, and more. When done, people can cash out back into the original versions. Think of Intercoin as a decentralized Layer 2 solution that isn't controlled by anyone. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space. We think that's important here on Free Talk Live. So important, we accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. If you think freedom is important too, check out intercoin.org. That's intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. Intercoin.org. Mark, you were correct about Hobson's choice. It is, according to Merriam-Webster, an apparently free choice when there is no real alternative. And another definition is the necessity of accepting one of two or more equally objectionable alternatives. So if you consider Biden and Trump to be equally objectionable, then, and you believe there are no other options, then you are being given a Hobson's choice in that particular case. In this case, in reality, there are other options. Thankfully, the Libertarian Party
we don't know yet that there are other options.
Well, okay, true. There are
many
states
ballots where you cannot even, you can try to write somebody in, but write-ins are just tossed.
Sure, I would expect the Libertarian Party to succeed generally this year, despite the difficult road that it's going to be. They do have a fair number of supporters. They are a very large, as far as third parties go, probably the largest, if not the fourth largest third party. I don't know what the current membership numbers are for either the Libertarian Party or the Green Party, but both of them did very well in the last election, so I suspect they've retained some of that momentum. They will have the money to throw at this problem to some extent. So I expect that will solve the ballot access problems they're having. They may lose a few states, but ultimately I'm going to predict they're going to have enough states to theoretically win the election. I think that they're going to do it because their initial results in the lawsuits that they have filed have been successful. So, in some states they may not be a success. They may have to appeal up to the U.S. Supreme Court, and it may be a bunch of last-minute legal wrangling. But I'm still fairly optimistic in this circumstance with the whole COVID thing. They're going to be able to use that, I think, to actually make it easier to get on the ballot in many of these states.
Well, I like your moxie.
Yeah. We'll find out over time. I'm sure we'll have Daryl Perry or somebody on, maybe Joe Jorgensen from the national level again. That she's their presidential candidate. She's been on with us once already, so no reason why we can't have her back to give us an update on the ballot access status.
Sure.
So we go to your phone calls and thoughts. David is on the line in New Hampshire. David, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark. Hello, David.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we've got you. Go ahead.
Hey, David.
Okay. This is my question. I was listening to one of the shows at Fork Fest.
Yeah.
It was a Fork Fest. And y'all were talking about libertarianism and animals and how the non-aggression principle doesn't apply to animals because they can't consent or something. Do I have that?
So you're referring to my opinion. There were some pretty distinct opinions on the show that particular day. We had Taryn Lupo on with us, who is a vegan now and has gone, and that was what brought the conversation up. Was Arias swatted I don't know if it was a hornet or something that looked pretty nasty that was in our remote studio there, and that started a conversation about the taking of animal life and that sort of thing. And my position on animal so-called rights is that animals should be treated humanely if possible. However, I don't believe that they have rights. I don't believe they have human rights because rights are an agreement between people, and it's a good idea. It's a good agreement. It's one. The idea of human rights is a concept.
Could people agree that animals should have rights then?
They certainly could,
okay.
But they don't, and people don't even agree generally on what rights humans have. But generally, most people do agree on some basic human rights concepts, and that is helpful to humans to be able to get along with one another and be as productive as possible and not, murdering each other out in the streets. So rights have been a generally good idea, but the idea behind them is that most humans have the ability to understand and reciprocate those rights, meaning to also respect the rights in return. And animals do not do that because they can't have we don't have the communications ability to communicate the concept of rights to them, even if they could understand it. But beyond that, many animals will kill you if they get the chance. So they don't believe in rights.
I would deviate from Ian's point, and I would say that animals. Perhaps, I get the complications around animal rights. I am willing to agree to a baseline set of rights for animals that basically includes them not being made to suffer intentionally at the hands of a human.
Define suffering, because some people would say keeping an animal inside a house against its will would make it suffer.
For some animals, that would be suffering. Like there's absolutely animals that they would be suffering, but that animal must then take its responsibility, take responsibility for its life, and attempt to procure food, not be killed. I mean, you're rummaging.
Some animals will do it if they get the chance. They're getting out. They're never coming back.
Then.
Can I just interject something?
Yep, please.
Sure.
I was going to say the reason we can say that animals don't have rights is because the survival of the fittest has put us at the very top, and the survival of the fittest means we can kill and we can do the most violence. Correct?
For the most part, I mean, that could be upended by
Might makes right.
by an alien, species coming to Earth, and then they're at the top of the food chain. And if you've ever been alone with an alligator in the swamp without a gun on you, then you may have second thoughts that you're actually on top of the food chain in that particular case.
I've killed more than one gator with just a knife.
Have you really?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Catch him with a hook.
Wow.
A big hook with some chicken meat on it.
Uh-huh.
All right. Or one of those little lizards that run around Florida. Either one of those is fine. The lizards will move, which is nice. And the gator will get it and then get caught, right?
Yeah.
You then reel it in. I mean, you're not using fishing line, clear fishing line here. You're using as toughest stuff you got. You reel it in, and then, the gator's just worried about the hook in his mouth. You get around behind him, jump down on him,
slice him up,
grab around his mouth, and then just, cut it around the neck.
Badass, man.
Wow.
Good luck doing that without your tools.
Wow.
Which tools are you referring to?
Thanks,
As a human?
The hook and the rope.
Fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. What's that?
Thanks, David. Anything else you want to share?
He's not thanking you. He's thanking me.
That's okay.
Yeah. So,
when were you wrestling gators?
In prison.
Oh yeah, weren't you telling me about that once? They sent the prisoners out to clean up some loose gators. What happened there? What was going on?
This was at the nursery in
a plant nursery.
Yeah, plant nursery.
Okay.
Right, they don't have the convicts taking care of kids. You're right.
Or gator nursery. It could have been a gator nursery.
That suppose is true too. At Avon Park, Florida, work camp. I went out and we go out during the day, and as long as you did your work, you could basically roam free. The guy who ran the place had a sort of a leg issue, couldn't really walk very well, and so we could go anywhere we want as long as we were back at the right times. We had watches, and so we would get the gators in the right situation, hook them up, and then we'd take them off out into the woods. And if the mosquitoes were so bad, we'd have to be covered from head to toe. And then we'd cook them up out there, season them with wild oranges, which are pretty sour, but it's kind of like using like a chicken piccata, right? And it's like
gator piccata?
Yeah, gator piccata, right? So we'd make it out there. We'd put them in coals. We'd come back after lunch, and then we'd have our gator.
Damn.
And we did that with sunfish or bream. People do the same, call them different things.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Man, I haven't had gator since I was probably an early teenager.
It's really a subsistence food. It's not the greatest.
It tasted like chicken. I thought it was good.
Yeah, but it's chewy chicken.
Yeah,
I mean, just have regular chicken if you're going to have it.
But I thought it was good. 855-450-FREE. And gator piccata would be even better. More coming up here. This is Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have two convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our made in the USA microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part? Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. Coming up, Mark, you're going to be telling us there's been a Supreme Court case about Native American territory and possibly expanding it. I don't know the details. We're going to get into that coming up here. Your calls and thoughts also welcome. Sounds interesting. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Or call us on our Discord call-in lines. You can go to discord.lrn.fm and you can hop into any one of those lines. We will put you on the air. You'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And thank you, by the way, going out to Eshredo, who is a Free Talk Live Silver Amplifier. Eshredo contributing $5 a month to the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. Simple concept. You can help us get on more radio stations around the United States, bring new internet listeners on board, expose new people to the ideas of freedom. So if you like what we do here on Free Talk Live, and I wish there were other shows that were like this, but they aren't. So we're the only ones that are in this position doing liberty-oriented talk every single night. of the week, 7 nights a week. So if you want to help us out, please do like Ashredo did. Go to amp.freetalklive.com, sign up for the AMP program. You get some cool benefits for doing that, and we really appreciate it. And you can sign up with credit card, with debit card, with PayPal, with Bitcoin BTC at amp.freetalklive.com. So one more Bitcoin-related story, because I happen to have this one. This caught my eye yesterday, and I guess I shouldn't have been surprised. And what I'm referring to is, apparently for the first time ever, the USDC, which is what's called a stable coin in the world of cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
So it
stands for US dollar. What coin?
C stands for Center, I believe, which is the owner of this particular stable coin.
Okay.
So for listeners who aren't familiar, you probably have heard of Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. It was the first one of its kind, but since then there have been a bunch of other ones. And the number 2 cryptocurrency in the world right now is called Ethereum. And Ethereum is more of like a programming platform than it is just a cryptocurrency. So there's other things that can be done with this platform, including the issuance of what are called tokens. And you can have these tokens for anything.
Right.
Mark, you could go and issue your own Mark coin if you wanted to. You could say, I want to issue 1 billion Mark coin, and poof, there they are. Now, they're not going to be worth anything right out the gate, but if you can make them worth something by whatever promises you're going to make or offers that you have, maybe the market would value them at something.
Yep. Anybody can turn in a Mark coin at any point. I'll call them up on the phone and tell them a joke.
There you go. So you can do anything you want with that. And one of the things that people have done with these tokens is they've created tokens that are the equivalent of a U.S. dollar or a Japanese yen or whatever it is they use over there. So
these are especially useful for exchanges where people can go in and out of dollars relatively quickly and easily.
Correct. And they're not actually real dollars, so they don't count the same way towards like taxes in the U.S. So if on an exchange in the United States, you take your Bitcoin that you have and you sell it for dollars, and then you take those dollars into your bank account, that's a taxable event according to the U.S. government, as I understand it. I'm not a tax expert, not an accountant, but that's my understanding. And so you'll get a 1099 based on the amount of dollars that you've turned your Bitcoin into. Okay, but if you turn your Bitcoin into USDC or USDT or one of these other competing stablecoins, because there's a bunch of them. There's several at least, probably a dozen, just for the dollar. If you turn them into a stablecoin, well, you're just converting one cryptocurrency into another cryptocurrency token in this case.
I'm not sure that works in the U.S., but I'll bet you that works in some countries.
Okay, well, it's my understanding that you don't get taxed on that, but maybe you do, Mark. Like I said, I'm not trying to give tax advice here. I'm not sure. It's my understanding that you wouldn't, simply because it's just one crypto to another crypto.
How about this? How about we agree that the orders that have been issued by the United States government surrounding cryptocurrency have been confusing at best and perhaps maliciously misleading at worst?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Okay.
Well, one thing is for sure, these companies that are issuing these stable coins, like the USDC, many of them are located in the United States, and I believe this particular one is this.
And it would make sense that it would somehow benefit U.S. citizens.
So no, it benefits the U.S. government, not U.S. citizens. So what I'm going to tell you about here, the news about one of these things, this USDC, is they have frozen an account.
Ruh-roh.
So one of the reasons why people get into cryptocurrency is because they believe that they have the keys to their crypto. Meaning, and we say this a lot, right? Like if you don't have your keys to your crypto wallet, you do not have control over the wallet.
It's not yours.
Well, turns out when it comes to some of these Ethereum smart contract stablecoins, even though you have your private keys to your wallet, there's a rule in the what they call the smart contract.
Yeah.
So this smart contract is code that somebody wrote that allows the issuance of these stable coins on the Ethereum blockchain. And turns out one of the things they wrote into that smart contract code was the ability for them centrally from their head offices to say, oh, we're just going to go ahead and freeze that address. We're going to make it so your address is persona non grata, basically. You still have the 100,000, in this case, USDC, or $100,000 worth of the stablecoin in this address. So the coins are there, but we're just going to go ahead and say, frozen. You can't send from that address ever again.
Well, okay. So let's talk about what ownership is. Ownership is, a word that we use that is largely described as having control of. Right?
Yeah.
Like you can claim to own something that you don't have control of, but at that point you really just have a claim. Okay? So if you have control of something, you own it, and if you don't have control of it, you don't.
That's right.
So when they freeze your account, although you can say, and that's fair, like you've got a claim to it, that's my account with my money in it, give me my money, you don't have control of it, so therefore it isn't really yours.
Well, that's what I'm trying to point out here, Mark, is that even though you have the keys to your stablecoin wallet, they can still freeze your account because it's part of the rules of the contract that, of course, you never read, right? Like you just bought some stablecoins. They went into your wallet. You thought that you had control over those stablecoins. And then somebody from law enforcement calls up this company calling itself Center, spelled C-E-N-T-R-E, all in capital letters, and they say, we want you to freeze this address. We're law enforcement. We say do this. And then they did it. And we don't know exactly all the details as to what is being alleged about this address in particular.
Does it really matter? This is instructive. It doesn't matter if these people are Muslim terrorists moving uranium from one location to another to make a bomb. I'm not going to claim that the government was wrong in freezing their account. I don't know. But I am saying that
this could happen to you.
This isn't what the idea behind cryptocurrency was.
No.
Cryptocurrency is supposed to be powered by mathematics and basically be unconfiscatable.
Yeah, that's what the idea was.
And although this hasn't been confiscated, your account's been frozen.
It's effectively been confiscated, meaning that and they probably could confiscate it. It wouldn't surprise me if they had the ability to reach in there and just pull things out. Now that would require them to have the private keys, so they probably can't. So what they've effectively done here is they've put this on a blacklist. That's essentially whenever somebody tries to send from this wallet, the contract will check the blacklist first and then say, nope, this wallet's on the blacklist. Denied. Declined. You can't move the funds.
Now, if this is real organized crime, the chances are pretty good that they're going to look up the names of the people that work at Center. They're going to find some, a couple of people that they think are good targets. They're going to go there and they're going to get those people to... If this is how much money is this?
$100,000.
This may not be worth it for that kind of kind of money, but maybe it is. And they're going to go there. They're going to tell those people, "Hey, you're going to go there and you're going to take care of it." They're going to hold whatever they need to hold over their head, and it may not be pretty. They may be doing some babysitting that night, for instance. Right? And that person's going to go unlock the account for the briefest period of time, and they're going to move their money out, and then they'll lock it back up and or just leave it alone and just walk out or whatever the heck happens, right? And
that could happen.
What if you're under duress in that circumstance? You're not going to be arrested.
Yeah, I mean, they did law enforcement a favor or whatever. I don't know if it was a court order. Presumably it was, but they got this.
Well, law enforcement doesn't give a damn if you die in their service. We've got story after story after story after story after story where they just don't mind that you die while they go ahead and prosecute their drug war or whatever.
So the appropriate thing to take away from this is that if you thought your stablecoins were safe, they are not. That I did a quick bit of research on this, and there was an article over at bitcointalk.org claiming that all the major stablecoins have this ability that are on the Ethereum network. So whether it's the Tether or USDC or whatever, the only one that he said doesn't have this is DAI, D-A-I, which is sort of like a decentralized stablecoin, which is an interesting concept on its own. More coming up. We'll talk about Native Americans coming up.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,817, silver at $19.03, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,395. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, a police sergeant in Joliet, Illinois, has been stripped of his police powers and placed on administrative leave after he blew the whistle on the cover-up of the murder of a man who was effectively tortured to death by his fellow officers. The Mind Unleashed reports that community members are hailing the actions of whistleblower Police Sergeant Javier Butch Escueda, who was moved to reveal the grisly nature of the in-custody death of Eric Lurie, a black man from Joliet, who was choked to death in the back of a squad car in grueling footage captured on video. On Tuesday, protesters rallied around the Joliet Police Department, calling for justice for Lurie, while praising Sergeant Escueda, a 27-year veteran of the force who has faced retaliation after breaking the code of silence regarding what he sees as the criminal actions of his colleagues, reports CBS 2 Chicago. Joliet City Manager Steve Jones quit following a Tuesday City Council meeting, where the brutal events surrounding Lurie's death were discussed. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. The unprecedented implosion of U.S. commercial real estate during the coronavirus pandemic is likely to get worse, as newly delinquent CMBS loans are surging as the list of retail store closures continues to rise. TREP's June CMBS remittance report showed CMBS delinquencies hit a high of 10.32%, not seen since 2012. It was noted that the retail CRE loans were in rough shape. Many retail shops are heavily indebted. Some have already declared bankruptcy, while others are quickly shrinking their operating size by reducing store footprint to rein in cost as the virus-induced recession, blended with a plunge in consumption, along with a shift to online, is resulting in a rapid acceleration of the retail apocalypse. Coresight Research's latest forecast has upwards of 25,000 retail stores that could close by year-end. Major defense firms have for years, especially since the post-9/11 so-called War on Terror, raked in billions of dollars in lucrative and very often wasteful government contracts, are begging the federal government for more COVID-related stimulus. Activist Post reports that ultra-wealthy CEOs of the major defense contractors are citing the potential for record job loss among their massive workforce, though it's likely few among the American public will sympathize with the idea of bailouts and taxpayer handouts to names like Lockheed Martin or Raytheon. Brazen and unbelievable as it sounds, Bloomberg on Wednesday reported that CEOs of major defense companies, including Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, Boeing, and Raytheon, urged the Pentagon's acquisitions chief and the White House's acting budget director to press for stimulus money, as the Senate is poised to consider another rescue package to ease damage caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
I was doing my regular 11 o'clock security sweep around the perimeter of my house when I noticed a couple of young people having intercourse in the front seat of a car out in the street. So I ran inside and I grabbed my video camera. As you can imagine, I stood in those bushes for over 20 minutes watching these two degenerates grind against each other, and I'm thinking, this behavior is simply unacceptable. Now, if you think this is an isolated incident, you are dead to rights wrong. I have 36 hours of footage to prove it that I have personally collected from sickos just around my own town. For example, I saw perverts having sex in swimming pools clearly visible from the roofs of adjacent buildings, on boats that anybody could see with a telescope, at night on the beaches where they can easily be watched by anyone hiding behind a fence wearing their night vision goggles. It's simply disgusting.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're kicking off the second hour of the program, and it's open phones as always here, where you can take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever is on your mind. With you in the studio, Ian.
And Mark.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Mark, there's been a pretty big news story about the Supreme Court ruling that Native American territory apparently is extending beyond where some people had originally thought. What's going on?
Yeah, if you understand all of this, you tell me. But here it is from USA Today. Washington. The Supreme Court ruled Thursday, just in case you wondered, that's today, that the eastern half of Oklahoma can be considered Native American territory, a decision the state warned could create civil, criminal, and regulatory turmoil. And I think that's probably a pretty fair estimate as to what could very well happen in this circumstances.
So you said this includes Tulsa, is that right?
Yeah, big cities.
Bartlesville, which we're on Saturdays.
Yep, that sounds right.
Yep.
The justices considered the issue for the second time after failing to decide a different case last year, when Gorsuch was recused and the court likely deadlocked. So the 5-4 decision today was written by Neil Gorsuch and joined by the court's 4 liberal justices. All right. So everybody is always blaming this, the chief justice there, whatever his name is I can't remember it off the top of my head. It's down here later in the article. But they're always blaming him for siding with the liberals. But here Gorsuch does. And sometimes libertarians do. Now, I'm not saying Gorsuch is a card-carrying libertarian or anything like that. But
yeah, no way.
I will go ahead and say he's probably one of the more libertarian justices.
So does this also include other nearby states? Kansas is bordering. No. So it's just Oklahoma.
The case concerned an appeal from Jim C. McGirt, a Native American who claimed his state rape conviction from 1997 should be overturned because Oklahoma lacked jurisdiction. Congress, his lawyer, Ian Gershorn said, never properly terminated the reservation. During oral arguments in May, the justices reached back to 1907 to determine whether Congress, using imprecise language, failed to disestablish the 1866 boundaries of the reservation. If so, virtually half of Oklahoma, home to 1.8 million residents, including Tulsa, where President Donald Trump recently held a controversial campaign rally amid a global pandemic, would remain subject to federal criminal laws. Let's see. So virtually half of Oklahoma would remain subject to federal criminal laws. I don't know exactly what they're trying to communicate there.
So as I understand it, it would become essentially a large Indian reservation, and therefore federal law applies there in a way that it didn't previously.
I think what they're trying to say is that it would, as opposed to remain subject to federal criminal law, because if half remains subject to federal criminal law, then the other half does not. But that's the half that remains is not notable. It's the half that does not that changes. Anyway, we do not pretend to foretell the future, and we proceed well aware of the potential for cost and conflict around jurisdictional boundaries, especially ones that have gone unappreciated for so long, Gorsuch wrote. But it is unclear why pessimism should rule the day. With the passage of time, Oklahoma and its tribes have proven they can work successfully together as partners. The federal government promised the Muskogee Creek Nation a reservation in perpetuity, Gorsuch wrote. Adding that while Congress has diminished the sanctuary over time, lawmakers had never withdrawn the promised reservation. As a result, many of the arguments before us today follow a sadly familiar pattern. Yes, promises were made, but the price of keeping them became too great, and so now we should just cast a blind eye. We reject that thinking. The court suggests excuse me, I saw something bolded here, so I didn't read it. Chief Justice John Roberts, in a dissenting opinion, said that Congress had made no attempt to conceal its intention to disestablish reservation lands. I would agree with him on that statement. That doesn't mean that I would vote with him, but I do agree that Congress made its likely criminal intentions very clear. The court suggests that Congress sought to tiptoe at the edge of disestablishment, Roberts wrote. Excuse me, the court suggests that the Congress tiptoed. Right. Quite the opposite. Through an open, concerted effort, Congress did what it set out to do, transform a reservation into a state. The state's Solicitor General...
This is still the dissenting opinion you're reading?
Yeah, that all was. Now we're moving on to something else. The state's Solicitor General, Matham Masingani, had warned in May that a ruling for Native Americans could require the release of more than 1,700 inmates. That didn't sit well with several justices who feared a chaotic overhaul of long-decided criminal cases. What makes this case hard is that there have been hundreds of prosecutions, some very heinous offenses of state law. On your view, they would all become undone. Associate Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg told Gishorn. So does that matter? I mean, that's a practical argument in an argument of law. Like, either it was what Congress did was legal or illegal, and the fact that there are some bad men that might get free, so what? That's not, look, that's a problem that you all have to work out. But Congress, if they broke their rules, needs to be held to account. And even if it was in 1907, even if it was more than 100 years ago, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter if the worst criminal in the world, Hitler's meaner younger brother is sitting in prison in Oklahoma. That is not a reason to vote against this. That's specious.
Yeah. And apparently this was voted in favor, and so therefore those cases, should they appeal, they could be overturned, right? Or should those cases be brought forth, they could be overturned. Basically, the argument, as I understand it, is, well, Congress cut corners, and they didn't do this the legal way of disestablishing the Indian reservation and turning it into a state. And so therefore all of these prosecutions have been done under false pretense, under false jurisdiction. In theory, if they had done it right, whatever process they needed to do, and this was an Indian reservation, and somebody committed, I think it was a rape was the original crime.
Well, there's lots of heinous crimes.
But the original one that was the case was a rape, and somebody committed a rape on the Indian reservation, then they would have to prosecute.
And Republicans, remember, settle down for a second, stop hyperventilating. Hold on. Remember, we're a nation of laws. And when we find out that a law was written poorly or inaccurately, or somehow didn't do what it was supposed to do, then we go back and correct that.
Not always.
Remember? That's what a nation of law does. You should be supporting this. You should be on the side of the liberal justices here. Not this nonsense that's like, oh, well, I don't think this is good. This sounds like they're going to release criminals. Hey, look, you can propose to keep the criminals.
That's a utilitarian argument, right?
It's a utilitarian argument, absolutely. And now who knows how they're going to deal with these criminals? I don't have any idea.
Most of them are probably really old by now.
I'm not rooting for any of these criminals to get out. But at the same time, I would say that in all likelihood, remember, the people who commit crimes are generally males between the ages of 14 and 28.
Yeah, and I would think that in this case, now I'm not an attorney, so this is not a legal opinion or anything like that, but I would think that if, let's say, a rape or murder, these are some of the more heinous acts out there, presumably there are either no limits on that as far as the I'm losing the term that
the statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations, yeah, thank you. The statute of limitations, I would imagine, is pretty lengthy on a murder charge. So if they overturn some guy's conviction because Oklahoma got the conviction and it should have been the Indian tribe, then in theory they could be retried under the Indian tribe, couldn't they?
Yeah, I wouldn't propose to know what what's going to happen here, but I would say that.
But if there is no statute of limitations on murder, then they could rebring those charges, right?
You're asking me a legal question. Yeah. I don't have an answer. I would say that
it would seem that they could if there's no statute of limitations.
If not, at the very least, they could just go through a resentencing.
Well, they'd have to bring the charges fresh, I would think.
Well, the trial already occurred. What if they have to do a retrial? So what?
That's what I mean. They'd probably have to do a retrial. 855, 450 free, and then for the rest of them, they've probably exceeded their statute of limitations, and let them out. Whatever. More coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
News from news.bitcoin.com. BTC miners give off a signal of intending to sell. Does this mean a bear cycle? New Zealand police seized $91 million from a Russian exchange operator. Anti-crypto SEC head stepping down, making Bitcoin ETFs more likely. And you can make money by referring people to exchange.bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. The monetary evolution comes to Las Vegas. Crypto Vegas is a one-day event featuring some of the brightest and most innovative minds in blockchain technology. Juan Galt, Anastasia Sergeyevna, Lynn Ulbricht, Jim Bell, Elise Sam, Float CEO Kingsley Edwards, and more. Tickets start at $20.20, and you can save 10% on VIP tickets using code FTL at CryptoVegasConference.com. July 18th, join Free Talk Live at CryptoVegasConference.com. The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Anarcho Vegas 2020 is a conference about changing the world through personal actualization and creation through markets. Get inspired to better yourself and better the world. Speakers include Jim Bell, Larkin Rose, Avens O'Brien, G. Edward Griffin, Walter Block, Amanda Rockwitz, Ernie Hancock, and more. Get your tickets for just $20.20 at anarchovegas.com and use code FTL to save 10% off VIP tickets. July 19th, join Free Talk Live for anarchovegas.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You may join us here. The toll-free number for you, 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. In the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
The Next Generation Wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to spend, earn, store, and exchange digital money in seconds. Divvy says you'll be able to send money around the globe in only a swipe and instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat currencies like the dollar right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. There's no need to wait, though, as Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with their multi-tiered masternodes, allowing anyone to earn by supporting the Divvy network. When the new Divvy wallet launches, because of their relationship with Western Union, Divvy will be in 200 countries, including the United States. You can learn more at divvyproject.org, DIVI project.org. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts, whether you want to talk about the Native American reservation in Oklahoma expanding to include a large swath of the eastern part of the state, according to a recent Supreme Court decision, which is going to change things in that particular area of the country. What's that going to mean in the long and short run? You're welcome to weigh in on that conversation or bring up whatever you want. Phil is on the line, calling from the Bay Area. I don't know if that's are you in California, Phil? Is it that Bay Area?
That would be San Francisco Bay Area.
Welcome. You're on the air.
Okay, I'm just going to share a story that happened to me today. I was picking up a salad at Wendy's here in the Bay Area, and I get up to the window, and the lady's like, put on a mask, just like that. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, no thanks. And I drove off. So this mask thing is just getting. Hold on.
Just to clarify, before you go on, are you saying you drove off without receiving the food that you'd ordered?
Oh, I did. I wasn't. It was in a drive-through. I was in a car.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go inside, which I understand. If I went inside, and that's
right, it's a completely different story.
But just to clarify, you didn't give her money. She didn't give you the food. You bailed at that point.
Yeah, I said I said no, thank you, and I drove off. I wasn't rude about it. She's just doing what she's told, so I'm not gonna. That's they put these workers at these restaurants. They make them responsible for scumbags like Gavin Newsom, all these people, these tyrants, just throwing down their orders, and they expect the little guy to enforce it.
Yeah,
and
it's
they
not
take
fair.
the brunt of the blowback from it all.
Right.
And I don't give people a hard time for, just doing what they're told.
Right, and nobody knows what what circumstances people get infected under and which they don't at this point. I mean, we're still in a real fluid state to know exactly what's true and what's not.
See, now I feel like you should have tried to see if you would get service. I mean, did she refuse to serve you, or did she just make a statement about how she wanted you to put a mask on, and then you left?
She refused service.
Oh, she did. Okay. Yeah, because I would want to make sure that they were the ones who chose not to give the food, because you'd ordered some food, right? Presumably by the time you were getting to the window, they were going to give it to you, but she didn't want to actually complete the sales, in which case that was her choice, not yours. You didn't just bail on what you owed them. She refused to hand you the food.
Right. And so if we break this situation down, cash is going from one hand to another. It doesn't matter whether you have a mask on or not. Right. So here we're talking about airborne particles or whatever the situation is. The company apparently is not providing her with some kind of plastic face shield thing, which may protect her from spittle or something like that in a talking situation. But you have to presume that this sort of buildup of viral particles in the air in the car makes it through the window, through the great wide yonder, and into the window, and then infects her. It sounds ridiculous. The presumption sounds ridiculous.
It's just over the top. I'm hoping I'm actually coming to New Hampshire, and so I'm hoping that it's nowhere near as ridiculous as it's getting out here.
I suspect that it won't be, but I am interested in your experience and the comparison. So definitely let us know once you've had the chance to compare. And thank you, Phil. Definitely appreciate hearing from you.
I just wanted to make a point. I called about 2 months ago because I ran out to Utah to get away from everything for a little bit.
Oh yeah. You were the guy who escaped from California so you could go work out in Utah.
Correct. Yeah. I actually, now I only have to travel a half hour.
Hello?
Has gyms open. Hello?
You said you have to travel a half hour what?
To go to the gym. One county in the whole Bay Area has gyms open right now.
Ah, okay. So you don't have to go to Utah now to go work out. All right, good to know, man. Hey, definitely keep us in the loop. Appreciate hearing from you, Phil. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Also, if you're coming over to New Hampshire, be sure you get onto the Shire Society forum over at forum.freetalklive.com. Then there's a Free Talk Live subforum in there. But if you're coming to visit, it's always good to post there and let folks know when you're planning on coming up. And we may already have a meeting scheduled, or we could do a meet and greet if you're going to be coming through the Keene area. That's not uncommon for us to do that. So definitely give us a heads up on that at forum.freetalklive.com. And you can just go to the forum anytime you want, because there's a section there about Forkfest and other sort of New Hampshire activist-y sorts of things. So if you like a good forum, that's a good one, and it's free, of course, at forum.freetalklive.com. Well, since he talked about a drive-through incident, I thought he was going to talk about this apparently viral video that is going around. It's in the Reuters headlines, or excuse me, not Reuters. Where is it here? This is for New York. Apologies. NBCNewYork.com. Out of Long Island, a guy who... one of these customers who just feels like they are, superior because they're wearing a mask, decided to go at a woman in Dairy Queen recently on Long Island, where...
You're not superior to anybody if you're a Dairy Queen.
He decided he is on a quest now to go after this Dairy Queen after a woman was seen preparing his ice cream that he had ordered without wearing a mask. He then... made an issue out of it, and a manager came up.
Should you tell him diabetes killed more people last week than COVID-19 did?
Is that true? It probably is, right?
I'm absolutely certain that's true. I have not looked up the numbers, but frankly, COVID-19 isn't killing that many people these days.
And it wasn't killing that many people 2 months ago either, all things considered. Well, and that's even if you believe the government's inflated fake-ass numbers.
Well, I don't know the answer as to how fake they are. I cannot claim that, but I can claim that the amount of deaths pale in comparison to what we were threatened with, and now with the release, the deaths continue to go down in the United States.
But
I'm sure you can find some zip code where they go up, though.
But now these people, like this Dairy Queen customer, Brandon Trotta, have an excuse to be all highfalutin over hardworking drive-through workers. The location in a town called Medford. He tells NBC New York he asked Dairy Queen for a refund after he saw an employee who wasn't wearing a mask.
A refund for a Sunday?
Preparing ice cream
$5
for his family. When he asked to see a supervisor, the woman who came up to the window to speak to him was also not wearing a mask. He said, quote, "I told the cashier I'm not going to take those. I asked if he could remake them with a mask. He brought over the manager on duty who told me she doesn't need a face mask because she's not dealing with the public," he said. Then an expletive-filled argument followed, captured by Trotta on his cell phone. The manager can be seen giving him 2 middle fingers as he said, "You're going to be on Facebook. I hope you like it." The video soon went viral, and franchise owners launched an investigation that led to the suspension of the maskless manager. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. There's a little bit more to this story because he went back to the Dairy Queen. We'll tell you what happened. It's Free Talk Live.
July 25th, we adopted April. She's a purebred, orange and white Brittany. But when she started scratching like crazy, I said to John, it's got to be her food. You know, what you put into a dog is what you get out. We heard this radio commercial, and this woman was so excited about Dinovite, DINOVITE.com. I said to John, I'm getting this. So the Dinovite comes, and I thought, a light bulb moment. She loves her dog food. She always leaves a little bit in her bowl. So we added a huge scoop of Dinovite in it, and then we swished it around like gravy. She dove into that bowl. She licked it clean. She loved it. So that's been the routine. April gets Dinovite for dessert. Her coat is now soft. It's silky. Dinovite is nutrition. She even walks like a little princess.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
On Dinovite, she's Little Miss Hollywood. DINOVITE.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
After vetting the 37-year-old for factors such as looks, screen presence, and film credits, Hollywood insiders unanimously agreed this week that area man Dennis Kiernan lacks the sheer star power necessary to carry a major motion picture. Industry experts spoke to reporters today about the Charlottesville, Virginia resident, who they say just doesn't have what it takes to crack into the A-list.
Love him or hate him, I think we can all agree that Dennis Kiernan is not a bankable star. He's got to have sex appeal, talent, charisma, and most importantly, that X factor. I should want to sleep with Dennis. I should want to be Dennis. Do I want to be Dennis? No.
Experts agreed the Virginia native and father of one does not have the widespread appeal required to secure a distribution deal with wide release, while also saying they had no reason to believe Kiernan would ever be capable of delivering the type of powerhouse performance that generates buzz at Sundance, Cannes, or Comic-Con.
This is the Onion News Network.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. The mask madness continues. This time, a man targeting a Dairy Queen simply because somebody didn't have a mask on while preparing his ice cream, and flips out about it in a drive-through video. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. If you want to comment and join us, you can do that. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live brought to you by Bitcoin.com. You can go to Bitcoin.com and you can get the latest news headlines. Maybe you want to know what's going on in the world of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin. Get on over to Bitcoin.com. You can find those there at news.bitcoin.com. They've also got a great introductory feature to, if you're brand new to the world of crypto, you can go through their Bitcoin.com introductory. I think it was called the Academy. I don't know if they've renamed it, but anyway, it's always
right there at the top. Getting started or get started.
Get started. They're always renaming things and redesigning because they like to keep their website looking fresh over there at Bitcoin.com. Get over there and start learning about cryptocurrency. So we're talking about a man who decided he was going to have it out with a drive-through manager at a Dairy Queen over the weekend in New York. The story coming from NBCNewYork.com. The man's name, Brandon Trotta, who was interviewed by NBC New York, telling the cashier that he was not going to take the ice cream that they made without a mask, and demanded that a manager remake the ice cream with a mask on. And a manager came over and basically told him to flip off and gave him 2 middle fingers, apparently, as he said.
Got a double.
As he said to her, "You're going to be on Facebook. I hope you like it." At this point, the manager without the mask has been suspended by the franchise owners. But that was not enough for Mr. Trotta, who believes the woman should have been fired. She said, quote, he said, "I'm more upset the owner hasn't taken any responsibility yet since it's a franchise." So he went back to Dairy Queen on Tuesday and held up a sign to warn other customers to, quote, "eat at your own risk," unquote. Some people in the drive-thru promptly got out of the line after seeing Trotta and his message. He explained, quote, "People are not wearing masks and it's very unsafe. It was only a few months ago that we had 750 people die in a day in New York State, so they all need to have masks on," he said.
How long?
Forever.
Right. I mean, now we have to wear the mask for the 750 dead, you troglodyte.
It's the new normal, Mark. Haven't you heard? It's going to be masks till further notice. Yeah. And there's no intention on any of these government bureaucrats' part to, unrestrict people in this way. Why would they? They've gotten away with all of this control stuff, like all of the control measures they've wanted to put into place. They've been able to get away with it, and people are cheering it on.
Well, the masks are counter to the government's goals. I mean,
How's that?
Because the government wants to track your whereabouts and can use facial recognition
You got
software.
A phone in your pocket, they got all they need.
Yeah, well, they're probably not. They probably haven't put that together yet.
Haven't put what together?
The local governments probably have not put together tracking using.
No, but they
cell
can
phone.
contact Google.
They can if they have to.
Yeah,
but at this point, they don't have the database of all your movements all the time.
That's true. They probably don't have
And
that.
the masks put them farther from that.
I don't know if they do.
And not everybody carries a cell phone. Just dealt with a man today who doesn't carry one.
Isn't that amazing? It's unusual, though. I would say most people do. As of Tuesday night, 25,000 people have died from coronavirus, according to state health officials. Daily death tolls have fallen to the single digits or low double digits compared to triple digits just 3 months ago, and officials have credited social distancing and face coverings in helping slow down the virus spread. While covering your face doesn't necessarily protect you from getting the coronavirus, CDC has said face masks may help prevent people who have COVID-19 from spreading it to others. But they're not real sure. They just said it may help.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Certainly it's not 100%. It looks like masks are helpful. There seems to be some science to say that masks are helpful. But I would err on the side of liberty in this issue, which is that you should be able to say in your business whether people have to wear masks,
I agree,
may wear masks, or mayn't wear masks.
Yeah.
That should be your right as a business owner.
I should be able to put up a sign that says, enter at your own risk and be done with it.
Right. I mean, what does enter at your own risk even mean at this point? If you can't, like, big sign on the wall that says, we're not putting masks on in here.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a double for you, pal.
All you got to do is look around when you go into a place. You can assess it real fast. You pop your head in that door, look around, see how many people are wearing your precious masks. If it's not all of them or not enough of a large enough percentage for you, turn right back around and walk out and find a place that is welcoming mask people. Because most places are. I think most places are pandering to the mask people. They are the supermajority, it appears, at least by the various public opinion polls, if you believe those. Otherwise, you have to believe your eyes when you're going out and about and looking around. And we had somebody just say yesterday they were at a Walmart here in town, and that was like 100% mask.
Well, I was at a bar here in town getting my chicken wings before I arrived.
Yep.
And
which bar?
At the Brick House.
Okay.
Yep.
What'd you see?
Votes Libertarian, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And he the staff was wearing masks.
Mm-hmm.
The customers weren't.
Yep.
I mean, it's a bar, right? They're consuming alcohol and they're consuming beer and chicken wings and pizza. And by the way, best chicken wings and pizza in town.
Thank goodness that we're able to actually go back to bars here in New Hampshire. A bunch of states have reversed their course to the so-called reopening, and they've done an about face, and they've said, no. After initially saying you could reopen your bars, nope, now you got to close them again.
Yeah, we were supposed to leave very soon for our trip to Las Vegas.
That's right.
Which
we
is
would
not
have been
happening
leaving in 3 days.
Right, which is not happening as a result of Vegas locking back down.
Yep. I think Florida has also locked up some of the bars, I believe, down there as well, and other states.
And the thing is that I get the concern that people have. But if you want to try this experiment in freedom, this revolutionary new notion that people should be able to decide what happens in their lives so long as they're not intentionally harming other people, if you want to participate in that, you've got to let people open their businesses, even if COVID-19 is spreading more in the United States than it is in other places. Even if there's more cases.
Well, that's if you believe in freedom.
Even if you're rooting for more deaths and every day they elude you. Even if you would just love to see enough people die so that the unemployment numbers are bad enough so that finally my crooked old pervert gets in and gets that other crooked old pervert out. Gosh darn it. Why isn't this COVID killing more people? That's what they're all about. These people that are all about the masks, these Democrats that have turned this, and Republicans, by the way, just as bad, that have turned this into a political football, but the Democrats have ended up on the pro-death side. They're like,
pro-death?
That's what, look, man.
They're all acting like they're concerned about death. They want people to wear masks.
But the deaths are going down.
Mm-hmm.
Look, if I go on Facebook and I post every single week the numbers of deaths, and you'd think I was spitting in Jesus' face.
Why?
Because they want people to die, apparently.
What do they say?
That I'm not looking at the numbers right, that I'm parsing them just on a national basis. I'm not looking at localities, that it takes 3 weeks lag. It's been 3 weeks. It takes 3 more weeks.
But what is it that they're saying that makes you think they want people to die?
The numbers, why are they upset?
I don't know. I don't watch Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. Well, I don't know what you're seeing.
I only make factual statements. There has not been a second spike in deaths.
So you post some numbers, and they say things to you that make you believe they want to see more death?
Well, why would somebody be angry if you show the number of deaths and say there hasn't been a second spike?
I don't know what they're saying to you, so I don't know why they're angry.
I'm telling you that they're upset that I would go so far as to say that there aren't more deaths.
So you're saying they
believe the audacity of saying it. There's more cases, Well, why aren't there more deaths?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know anything. You're a lay person. Well, can you explain it to me? And if I'm a lay person, does that mean you're an expert? Can you tell me what
that means that the person wants to see more deaths. I think that may
I don't
mean
think that they would ever come out of their mouth and say that they want more deaths. But if you get angry when somebody says that there hasn't been a spike in deaths, you sound very much like somebody who is angry that there hasn't been a second spike in deaths.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why you would extrapolate that. I don't know if that's what's going on here. It may simply be that they believe that there are more deaths than are being counted or something, and they are upset because you don't believe the same thing. But I don't know if they would say they want
Center for Disease Control numbers. I'm not making anything up here.
Yeah, well, they are, but 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your comment on Mask World. It's Free Talk Live, or bring up anything.
Hi, Bill Hyde here for Safe Places USA. If you're thinking it might be finally time to move out of a dangerous urban area to a safer place before things get worse, pay close attention. Because the feeling in your gut, the one telling you to get out, could save your life. Here's why. You can now find out where the safest places in this country are by going to safeplacesusa.com and checking out the Ultimate Relocation Manual. It's your personal guide to the tips, tricks, and techniques for relocating your family to the safest places in America, all broken down in 15 strategic, critical categories along with checklists and preparation sources. So if you want a clear path to getting out of Dodge, go to safeplacesusa.com. That's safeplacesusa.com. Use coupon code GCN and get half off the manual all this week. Plus, get the following books free with your Ultimate Relocation Manual: Pandemic Survival Secrets, Your Home, Your Fortress, all free this week at safeplacesusa.com.
There's so much hand sanitizer on the market, but beware, not all hand sanitizers are created equal. That's why you want to use 2020 Safe hand sanitizer. You can trust the hand sanitizer on 2020safe.net to be made with the highest quality ingredients, American made with American ingredients, employing Americans. Log on now to 2020safe.net and order your 1 liter today. Normally $29.99, but reduced to $19.99. So hurry while supplies last and receive a bonus. That's right. You'll receive a 30-count bottle of Immune Booster, a $39.95 value, free by using code GCN at checkout. Right now, click 2020safe.net. That's 2020safe.net to get our 1 liter bottle of high-quality hand sanitizer with your free bonus. A 30-count bottle of Immune Booster valued at $39.95. Remember to enter GCN at checkout, and the bonus is yours, free. 2020safe.net.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
Besides, we just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. In the studio here with you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And don't forget, you can visit us online over at freetalklive.com. We've got archives that go back for well over a decade, all completely free, so please enjoy at freetalklive.com. We've been talking about people getting all crazy over masks. Some guy flipping out on a Dairy Queen drive-thru recently in New York. And a breathless news report done by... Actually, the link to it isn't in here right now. Here it is. Okay, CW News. Apparently, CW is one of these syndicated cable channels or something like that.
Okay.
And they've got a report about what happened in Las Vegas, or just outside of Las Vegas, where a desert rave.
Apparently, it didn't stay there.
What's that?
What happened there?
Oh, well, it was just outside of Las Vegas.
Okay,
it was
so
in the
beyond the boundaries.
I think so. Yeah, it was in the desert
of silence surrounding Las Vegas.
Yep, it was apparently in the desert outside of Las Vegas here, and I'm just going to play the audio from this particular news clip so you have some idea of just how this stuff is being reported. Here it is from CW News, at least what I thought was going to play. There we go.
In the middle of the desert on the 4th of July, defying orders by Governor Sisolak. Hundreds gathered in an empty North Las Vegas lot for a night of music, dancing, and no social distancing. Governor Steve Sisolak warned businesses heading into the holiday weekend to comply with the state's health standards while urging residents not to meet up in big groups. But as News 3 found out, masks and social distancing were not part of the celebration last night in the Las Vegas desert. News 3's Lauren Clark is here now in studio with the exclusive story.
Well, Gerard, News 3 received a tip that a large desert rave was planned for the 4th of July. Promotions for the event were all over social media, too.
So
but
somebody
on the many Facebook and
sent a
Instagram
snitch
posts
report.
about the rave, there was no mention of COVID-19 safety guidelines.
Apparently,
so we decided to
the pause button doesn't work on this.
Once tickets were purchased online, the secret location
Let's let him
was
talk.
revealed and directed attendees not to post about it on social media. News 3 arrived to find a crowd of hundreds of people dancing like you see right there. While we observed from a safe distance, no one appeared to be wearing masks nor practicing social distancing, despite the directions from the governor and health professionals. Now, social media this morning is also buzzing with rave videos and pictures from the event. As you saw, among them was a video posted by a vendor there. A public health expert, Dr. Christina Madison, says this behavior is pretty risky during this time.
Try not to do these large group gatherings because it's a super spreader event. We're just waiting to happen.
Super spreader.
Please take responsibility for yourself. Do not spread this to others. Do not fill up our ERs and our ICUs and get
which
people
didn't
to the
happen.
point where they have to require a ventilator. Please, I'm begging
How long ago
you.
was it?
It was July 4th.
Urges anyone who was there at that rave to get tested for
At this point,
COVID-19 and
presumably they could be, still non-symptomatic.
They could be.
So
but look,
I'm not
out of
to
all
say
the
that.
gatherings that have
But
happened
that's
here,
the thing is that to be clear, Ian, right?
Yeah.
On the other side, if nobody or 5% of these people end up in going to the hospital, there'll be no apology issued by whomever that woman was, saying, "Don't get together." Now, when you're outside, supposedly it's about viral load in a contained area.
This was an outdoor rave.
So, I don't know what the wind conditions were like there, but if there was any breeze at all, even an intermittent breeze, it's basically blowing it away every single time. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just repeating what the doctors on the news say. And at some point or another, we have to come up with, some kind of protocols. Maybe, I got an idea. We'll come up with the protocols on November the 8th once we finally get Trump out of office. Until then, you better social distance, and I hope more people die from corona.
Now, there was an interesting detail in the printed version of this story that I don't think made it into, or maybe it was at the very end of the piece, but no state business license for the company behind the rave was found.
My God.
So that means that whoever organized this rave doesn't have the typical fulcrum pressure point that all other companies in most states have, meaning that what we've seen happen is the states will threaten
they threaten their license
to pull a business license. Well, these guys are just rave promoters. They didn't ask for permission to promote a rave. They put together a rave in the desert. They threw it. They kept the location quiet until you purchased a ticket, and they got away with it, apparently. So kudos to them for actually putting something on that actually appeared to attract hundreds of individuals. The video provided at a safe remove from the news media definitely made it look like it was a pretty good rave.
And this is the sort of thing that Obamacare brings. Now, when you can force somebody to pay for medical insurance, you can force them to stay home. You can, in a country that has habeas corpus, where you, in order to incarcerate somebody, have to deliver a body of evidence. In a country where you have habeas corpus, you can incarcerate the whole nation because you're scared. And that is terrifying. That means the entire American experiment is over.
Well, it should be over.
Just walk away and secede it to the commies because they've already got it.
I want to secede, but not to the commies. I think New Hampshire should secede and actually be a free place.
Yeah,
that could happen.
It could happen.
It could happen. If you want to secede to the commies, then California can secede, and all the commies should go there. But one Reddit user commented...
the commies don't like the places that they live because they suck.
Oh, California's a nice place.
California's a nice place, but people are moving out, not in.
The commies aren't moving out, right? Like, isn't it the people that want to get away from the commies?
Ask the people in Montana and Texas and Nevada and these sorts of things that the commies are moving out of California.
The news of the illegal rave, according to EDMtunes.com. So this website actually is not...
Electric dance... Music,
yeah, tunes. So this is a rave, website that is commenting here now. News of the rave generated lengthy discussion on r/Aves subreddit on Monday. One Reddit user commented, quote, "This gives the rave community such a bad look. Stay home, y'all. If not, raves and festivals will not be happening anytime soon." And my ex-girlfriend, she is a pretty big raver, and her new husband also. He's a DJ, and they're both pretty frustrated with the rave scene because, well, it's full of a bunch of leftist, socialist commies.
They believe in, what is it, peace, love, unity, and respect, unless you disagree with them, like any damn leftist.
Right. And so the rave community is, of course, going completely bonkers, over following all the mask orders and being totally obedient, and it's frustrating, for any freedom lovers who happen to be, remaining in that particular community. But apparently there were enough of them to throw a pretty awesome looking rave outside in Vegas, and now they're being shamed by their fellow ravers on the internet over it. In fact, even Vice News was shaming underground raves. They did a
Vice,
report.
She ain't what she used to be.
No, they did an underground rave report on some underground raves happening in the UK, where they interviewed a couple of the rave promoters. The promoters were wearing masks to protect their identities, but the Vice reporter actually is shaming them in the clip for even doing what they're doing. So to have Vice, which has always been this, historically this news and opinion place that seems to
sort of outliers,
seems to support things like raves and, fun stuff like that. Well, not anymore. Now anything that goes against the health recommendations of the state shall not be questioned, not even on Vice, which, things change, I guess. Indeed, mass gatherings included the desert rave with people not wearing masks, according to the story here, or staying 6 feet apart from each other, are high risk for spreading the virus, which leads to halting reopening plans and puts legally organized events at risk of not happening in 2020, namely Electric Daisy Carnival at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, which is the most massive dance music festival and was rescheduled for October 2nd to 4th. So they're actually blaming the underground rave for delaying the above ground raves.
How would that be so? Either the above ground rave is safe to go to, or it's not by the state standard.
Mm-hmm.
So the presence of this underground rave should be inconsequential, unless the government runs its departments like a kindergarten teacher that's like, I heard some talking while I was looking at the board.
Right, punish
Everybody
everyone.
put your head on your desk.
Yeah.
I mean,
Everybody had that experience in government school, didn't they?
God, what? I mean, I had that in private school too.
Yeah.
Believe me, it is not relegated to government school. This is just what people who have no control over what they're trying to do, trying to assert control.
Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. They say that as coronavirus numbers surge in places not practicing social distancing and mask wearing, keep in mind that instant gratification jeopardizes the satisfaction of a legally organized premier production like EDC Las Vegas.
We'll cancel your other rave even if you don't want to go to it.
There's more on the way here. You can take control of the airwaves. Hour 3 next. Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,817, silver at $19.03, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,395. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, a police sergeant in Joliet, Illinois, has been stripped of his police powers and placed on administrative leave after he blew the whistle on the cover-up of the murder of a man who was effectively tortured to death by his fellow officers. The Mind Unleashed reports that community members are hailing the actions of whistleblower Police Sergeant Javier Butch Escueda, who was moved to reveal the grisly nature of the in-custody death of Eric Lurie, a black man from Joliet, who was choked to death in the back of a squad car in grueling footage captured on video. On Tuesday, protesters rallied around the Joliet Police Department, calling for justice for Lurie, while praising Sergeant Escueda, a 27-year veteran of the force who has faced retaliation after breaking the code of silence regarding what he sees as the criminal actions of his colleagues, reports CBS 2 Chicago. Joliet City Manager Steve Jones quit following a Tuesday City Council meeting, where the brutal events surrounding Lurie's death were discussed. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. The unprecedented implosion of U.S. commercial real estate during the coronavirus pandemic is likely to get worse, as newly delinquent CMBS loans are surging as the list of retail store closures continues to rise. TREP's June CMBS remittance report showed CMBS delinquencies hit a high of 10.32%, not seen since 2012. It was noted that the retail CRE loans were in rough shape. Many retail shops are heavily indebted. Some have already declared bankruptcy, while others are quickly shrinking their operating size by reducing store footprint to rein in cost as the virus-induced recession, blended with a plunge in consumption, along with a shift to online, is resulting in a rapid acceleration of the retail apocalypse. Coresight Research's latest forecast has upwards of 25,000 retail stores that could close by year-end. Major defense firms have for years, especially since the post-9/11 so-called war on terror, raked in billions of dollars in lucrative and very often wasteful government contracts, are begging the federal government for more COVID-related stimulus. Activist Post reports that ultra-wealthy CEOs of the major defense contractors are citing the potential for record job loss among their massive workforce, though it's likely few among the American public will sympathize with the idea of bailouts and taxpayer handouts to names like Lockheed Martin or Raytheon. Brazen and unbelievable as it sounds, Bloomberg on Wednesday reported that CEOs of major defense companies, including Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, Boeing, and Raytheon, urged the Pentagon's acquisitions chief and the White House's acting budget director to press for stimulus money, as the Senate is poised to consider another rescue package to ease damage caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Readers rejoice! This week, Amazon unveiled the Kindle Flare, the latest model of their popular e-reader. The improved device has the ability to loudly and repeatedly announce the title of the book you're reading so everyone knows how smart you are.
Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut.
The hot new e-reader includes a massive catalog of titles, a sleek, easy-to-use interface, and a loud, clear voice that barks the name and author of your book on a loop. Amazon says the repetitive shouting is a small feature that makes a big difference. Readers say that with crystal clear 150 decibel stereo speakers, the Flare provides the most conspicuous reading experience yet. When you're not reading, the Flare automatically switches into bookshelf mode, which conserves power and reads off a list of everything on your Kindle.
Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, a confederacy of dunces.
And Amazon's competition has also stepped up their game as Apple released a new iPad that whispers, "I have an iPad," over and over again.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want right here. Toll-free numbers 855-450. Free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. There's lots of interesting news to discuss here. Of course, plenty of time for your calls and thoughts. Coming up, a small town in Washington State is issuing their own wooden banknotes. We'll tell you what that means coming up here in just a little bit. But, Mark, you had a story, international piece, out of China, apparently outlawing activism globally. What is going on?
From Axios.com, with new security law, China outlaws global activism. The draconian security law that Beijing forced upon Hong Kong last week contains an article making it illegal for anyone in the world to promote democratic reform for Hong Kong.
All right.
So, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I don't know how COVID-19 was created or came into being. But I can tell you the Chinese government has used the cover of COVID-19 to destroy any hope there is for Hong Kong. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's already over. Hong Kong is not the place that you thought it was a few years ago. It is over. Okay? And it cannot be undone. It is gone. It's like Macau. Gone. The last little bastion for Chinese people to go and have some modicum of modern democracy or freedom or whatever it is in Taiwan or Formosa or whatever you want to call the place. And that's it. China is expanding. It's expanding its borders on multiple fronts. It's at war with, basically attempting to go to war with India. It's oppressing Uyghurs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
China is bad news.
Jeez, I had not heard about the India war, though. What's going on with that?
The people have died. Their soldiers have died in conflicts on the border over this worthless bit of land. India's like, we're not letting you just walk in here and take this stuff. And China's like, we're walking in and taking that stuff. And they continue to expand. They will use soft money in Africa, but they'll use hard bullets around the world. I had a friend report he was in, I can't remember the name of the country, but like Kazakhstan, I don't know where it was, but on the border with China, and the locals, there was this big smoke on the horizon, and the locals were saying, yeah, that's where China's taking our land. And they were just saying it. And it appears to be happening all along their borders. And nobody can do anything about it except the United States, who has no stomach to do anything about it. And I'm not advocating for that. But what I would advocate for, if you'd like me to advocate for something, is let the Hong Kongers come here. Let any of them that want to, just go take a look at Hong Kong. It's very successful.
You went there last year.
They don't have a social safety net or anything like that I know of. I paid for doctor's visits out of my own pocket.
You're a tourist.
They didn't suggest that there was anything other than that. They had their prices on the wall.
Okay.
So I suggest that you're paying, I say there's, they're hard workers and they understand what liberty brings. So let them come here and make our lives better. Hey, I got a crazy idea. Give them some of those houses that went to hell in 2007 and 2008, 2009. Just let them have them. How many towns have pieces of property that are just deteriorating that they don't know what to do with? Let them have that. They'll start paying taxes on it.
Move into Berlin, New Hampshire.
It could absolutely happen. Now, that's just a wild suggestion that municipalities could take on.
Well, that would help the Chinese as well. You get the activists out. They're not going to cause you any problems anymore, right? You can totally rule over the place. You don't have to deal with those pesky activists because you send them to the United States.
Let the yellows go, let the blues stay, and everything will be fine. And that's what China wants. China wants the name Hong Kong. They want the control over the area. They have this big celebration coming up in the mid-21st century, and they intend to be unified for that. Ladies and gentlemen, Taiwan is next. I don't know what's going to happen.
What about Saipan?
Why not? It's never been controlled by China, so
Really?
I doubt that they would ever consider it to be theirs.
Interesting.
But they would, there's already Chinese Communist Party companies at work in Saipan,
right,
being funded by the Chinese government. And Saipan, by Saipan, what I mean is America.
The U.S. Mariana Islands.
Right.
Yeah.
There are
where you are a resident.
Yep. They're happening. It's happening right now. You can go there and look. And these people got Chinese passports, and they're doing business, and it's why, because America's not doing business there.
So I did pull up a story about this, Mark, the border conflict that you're referring to. This is AlJazeera.com reporting on the evening of June 15th. Hundreds of Indian and Chinese troops laid aside their arms and took on each other in a brawl on the ridge of a mountain in Ladakh, a desolate high-altitude plateau in the northeast Kashmir. The clashes, in which clubs and stones were used, left a bloody trail of dead and wounded soldiers on a frontier that had not seen such violence in the last 45 years. And as India buried 20 slain soldiers from that fight, it began to contend with a high political cost of its ill-thought-out actions in the Himalayan region. India's unilateral action to revoke the special status of the disputed territory of Kashmir in August 2019 was intended in the grand strategy of its Hindu nationalist Prime Minister Narendra Modi to usher in, quote, peace and development, unquote, in the restive state. What has resulted from it instead is a never-before-seen military confrontation between three nuclear powers, China, India, and Pakistan. And the terrifying prospect of a whole region descending into the hellish vortex of war, mass suffering, and widespread economic chaos. For nearly 70 years, a tacit understanding of sorts had kept the three countries, all of which hold portions of the land of Kashmir, from doing anything drastic to bring about a change to its fragile status quo. But India upended the agreement by annulling the autonomy and cutting the state into two halves. And as a result, the region described once by former U.S. President Bill Clinton as, quote, the most dangerous place in the world, unquote, descended into a free-for-all.
That was more than 20 years ago.
In early May, a large contingent of Chinese troops crossed an ill-defined border that separates the two countries in Ladakh and hunkered down in trenches and camps with a large range of artillery guns and heavy equipment flanking the troop encampment. The Chinese intrusion provided a peek into the contours of a new strategic competition unfolding on the roof of the world. In the last decade or so, India has been bolstering its defense facilities across a wide swath of the forbidding glacial landscape with the construction of roads, bridges, tunnels, and a large airbase. After the annexation last year, the Indian political leadership has been making open threats to capture Gilgit-Baltistan, the northern area of Kashmir that went with Pakistan in 1947. What seemed to have forced China's hand was the fear that its $60 billion investment in the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, part of China's Belt and Road Initiative that wound through Gilgit-Baltistan, could become a victim of any major Indian military thrust into the region. The Chinese move was to forestall any such Indian assault. So it sounds like from the analysis here at Al Jazeera that it was India that made the first move in this particular conflict.
I wonder if Al Jazeera has a bias towards Muslims.
The face-off between China and Indian troops in Ladakh might eventually turn out to be only a sideshow to what could become a much bigger military confrontation this year between India and Pakistan along their border in Kashmir.
Yeah, I've seen a long interview on this particular topic. I mean, it was 50 minutes long, where different sides presented their cases. And while I wouldn't say I have the greatest, understanding of it, I would also say that, any attempt to absolve China from, their opportunism here is misplaced. Okay, I mean, China's expanding in every border. South China Sea, up, into the the old Stan countries, Mongolia. I mean, like every place every place there's a Chinese border, there's a conflict. But every place that there's an Indian border, there isn't. Yeah, they have a lot of problems with Pakistan and that other Muslim country that the other side.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So there's some information there from Al Jazeera, which is a fairly well-respected global news organization. But obviously everything's got its slant. You can join us here and share your thoughts, whether it's international or right down home. This is Free Talk Live.
News from news.bitcoin.com. BTC miners give off a signal of intending to sell. Does this mean a bear cycle? New Zealand police seized $91 million from a Russian exchange operator. Anti-crypto SEC head stepping down, making Bitcoin ETFs more likely. And you can make money by referring people to exchange.bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
She's a purebred, orange and white Brittany, but when we adopted April, she's started scratching like crazy. I said, what you put into a dog is what you get out. DINOVITE.com. So we had a huge scoop of Dinovite in her bowl. She licked it clean. She loved it. Her coat is now soft. It's silky. Dinovite is nutrition.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
On Dinovite. She's Little Miss Hollywood. DINOVITE.com.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. You can bring up anything on Free Talk Live. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Here in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And Mark, tell me, why is it important to advertise during a time when no one else seems to be doing it?
Well, historically, it's proven to be a pretty successful system. I mean, if your competition has decided they're not going to advertise because times are tough, and you're the only one who's advertising, yeah, maybe sales are lower right now. But that doesn't mean that they won't come back at some point in the future. And when they do, you might be the top one if you've been advertising.
You'll be top of mind.
You'll be much more so.
Yeah.
You've replaced everybody else in the whole scenario. So it's a good idea.
Are there any better deals available right now?
Right now at Free Talk Live, we have COVID-19 specials.
All right.
Are we exploiting this for our benefit? Absolutely not. The fact is that sales are down.
They're down
And
everywhere.
That's that. Yeah.
It's not just Free Talk Live.
Yeah.
It's
Believe me, it's not just Free Talk Live. It's industry-wide. Free Talk Live.
Not just radio industry, but advertising, period.
Yeah. Free
Internet
Talk
ads,
Live's probably
TV.
doing better for its long-term commitments from advertisers.
Bitcoin.com still with us.
Yeah, Bitcoin.com, Intercoin, Divvy. They've been with us for some time.
Yep. So if folks do want to advertise, what do they do?
Just get a hold of, go to my sales manager. Rather than sending me an email at mark@freetalklive.com, you could do that, but I'm just going to forward it on to Matthew at freetalklive.com. So,
and he'll take care of it.
Yeah, he'll take care of it.
All right, so our number here, 855-450-FREE. We were talking about China got off sidetracked on this conflict on the border, which I didn't know was going on. The chat room's giving me a hard time over it. I'm like, hey, man, I don't even know what's happening in Keene, New Hampshire half the time. I barely know what's going on around me in the immediate vicinity, let alone an entire world away. But this conflict has been raging, apparently, on the border between India and China and also Pakistan. But what led to that conversation was you talking about a new law in China that is prohibiting the activism of supporting Hong Kong, basically.
Yeah, supporting Hong Kong freedom anywhere in the world by anybody.
No, I thought it was to supporting democracy, which is not the same thing as freedom.
I understand, but they're calling it that there.
Like if I am in support of abolishing the state, is that illegal in China, or is it only if I'm in favor of democracy for Hong Kong? I don't have any.
I am not a Hong Kong lawyer, but I'll just go ahead and say this: that whatever passes for democracy in any of the westernized countries around the world is better than what goes on in China.
Okay.
So. Here it goes from Axios. Why it matters. China has long sought to crush organized dissent abroad through quiet threats and coercion. Now it has codified that practice into law, potentially forcing people and companies around the world to choose between speaking freely and ever stepping foot in Hong Kong again. What's happening? Article 38 of the National Security Law states this law shall apply to offenses under this law committed against the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region from outside the region by a person who is not a permanent resident of the region. That's you, Ian.
Yeah.
They have just passed a law that says that you cannot support Hong Kong independence.
Or you, who has actually been to Hong Kong. And
taking pictures with activists wearing Guy Fawkes masks and flying.
That's clear support.
Yeah, holding yellow umbrellas.
So you're done. You can't go back.
Apparently. Maybe. I'll probably go back anyway.
If they know who you are, they could snatch you up at the airport, right?
They could. That would probably be really great for Free Talk Live, wouldn't it?
I don't know if that would be great for Free Talk Live. I mean, to lose you to some sort of government re-education camp, they're going to throw you in there with the Uyghurs in Northwest China. We'll never see you again.
I suspect not.
Okay, that's awfully optimistic for
confident in my
country with a bunch of re-education camps in it.
Well, that's all. Well, what would you say should be done to China if they did that?
As far as if they put you in a prison cell?
Yeah.
If they put you in a prison cell, I would tell you, man, you shouldn't have gone there and done that.
Well, Hong Kong's pretty nice. There's this fishing village that I'd like to take my wife to that's down on the end of it.
Well, she can go. You can't.
I hiked Dragonback earlier this year, and it was awesome. And I would like to share that experience with my spouse. And then I would like to go to this little fishing village and enjoy a couple of days.
Sorry, that's probably not going to be a possibility. Unless you want to risk going to prison and just for simply going into a fishing village. I don't know if that's worth the risk. I mean, I certainly don't support taxing people to send in the military to come get you out of China because you went there when you were aware that you weren't wanted. I think the whole world should be free, but it's not. And so if some criminal enterprise is threatening violence against you if you set foot within their territory, I'm not really sure what the benefit is of setting foot within their territory in that case. I mean, we got enough problems with the criminal gang around here, and you can at least have a chance of fighting them because you can, speak the same language as the courts and the attorneys, but you're going to have a whole hell of a lot of a worse time in a place like China.
I'd rather deal with the criminal gang here than the criminal gang in China any old day.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I consider the criminal gang here good guys compared to the criminal gang in China. I hope that comes across clearly. I don't support war, but it's coming.
You think war between China and the U.S.?
There's no getting out. Are you this ignorant of the situation? Who has pledged to protect Taiwan, Ian?
I presume the United States government.
And what did I say was next?
You said Taiwan was next.
Okay. Do you have any information that suggests that that's not true?
I don't know anything about it, so I'll take your word for it.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
But it doesn't seem like China's best interest is to attack their number one customer.
They're not going to attack the United States. They're going to attack Taiwan, and then the United States will have to retaliate.
Maybe.
Well, they may not.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? And then what benefit is wrought? Another, one more relatively free place in the world falls to the Chinese Communist Party. At what point does somebody stand up and say this is quite enough? Thank you,
don't know.
Winnie the Pooh.
I guess that would be Taiwan's role to stand up and say
Taiwan
this is enough.
can't.
Yep.
Have you looked at a map of China versus Formosa?
Yeah, they're small.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult.
The
reason that they have the relationship with the United... What I'm saying is the problem here was Nixon in the first place opening up China and giving them, and then Bill Clinton giving them preferred trading status and all this stuff. They should have never done business with these criminals in the first place. This is the problem that I have with free trade, because it's not free trade when you're not free to trade.
Well, but who are we talking to who said, I don't remember who it was, but some caller had been, I don't know if it was Gene the Christian Anarchist, but somebody was explaining to us that there was a time, it was Lily. Lily, the early mover, or not early mover, but the mover.
Lily Tang?
Yeah, Lily Tang Williams from Colorado, or originally from, I think, Beijing, was talking about how there was a time frame in the last 30 years where there was actually some semblance of business freedom in China, where not every company was being run by the Chinese Communist government, that you could actually launch a company privately, essentially, in China in that time frame, and that is one of the reasons why they became so economically strong, because they were letting off, and that's changing now with the government coming, the
government's coming in and sweeping it all up, because Xi Jinping has made deals with the militants in order to secure his position, and it's unfortunate, but I don't know what to do about it. But it seems really dangerous.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever you want, and unfortunately the U.S. government has made all these stupid interlocking agreements with other governments around the world, and they never should have done that. So there's more coming up here. This is Free Talk Live.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app, and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org. The Monetary Evolution comes to Las Vegas. Crypto Vegas is a one-day event featuring some of the brightest and most innovative minds in blockchain technology. Juan Galt, Anastasia Sergeyevna, Lynn Ulbricht, Jim Bell, Elise Sam, Float CEO Kingsley Edwards, and more. Tickets start at $20.20, and you can save 10% on VIP tickets using code FTL at CryptoVegasConference.com. July 18th, join Free Talk Live at CryptoVegasConference.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass-half-full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through the clutter. For more tips for job seekers and making all the other conversations you have more productive, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Just keep in mind, if you do support the resistance in Hong Kong verbally or in some sort of traceable way, you may be put on a blacklist and disappeared if you try to enter the place known as China or Hong Kong. That's at least the news that you're sharing with us here tonight, Mark. The toll-free number, if you want to weigh in, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Also, we've got the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. You can hop into one of those, and you will sound like you're sitting here in the studio with us. Did you want to share more from this story? Where do we get
going on
basics?
here with the Axios says, in other words, every provision of the law applies to everyone outside of Hong Kong, including you. Mm-hmm. Several experts in Chinese and international law confirmed this interpretation of the law to Axios. Mm-hmm. It literally applies to every single person on the planet, and that's how it reads, says Wang Minyo, a Chinese-American lawyer based in New York. If I appear as a congressional committee in D.C. and say something critical that literally would be a violation of this law, this means that anyone advocating democracy for Hong Kong or criticizing the governments in Hong Kong or Beijing could possibly face consequences if they step foot in Hong Kong or have assets or family members in Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah.
What they're saying, one of the main purposes of having the national security law is to quash the international front of the movement, said Nathan Law, a Hong Kong pro-democracy lawmaker who spoke to Axios after he fled the city last week.
Well, remember last year, Mark, there was the story that hit about a gamer who was in a contest, some sort of one of these esports video game extravaganza contest things that they do. And he made some sort of statement during a post-game interview about how he supported democracy for Hong Kong.
And it's very hip to do so right now.
And this was several months ago. This might have been toward the end of last year, I think December or something like that.
LeBron James showed he's no winner by buckling to China.
Well, right. So what happened to that gamer was the company that Blizzard, I believe it was, which is a video game production house, they punished him. They said, well, we don't want to offend our Chinese people, government people.
They didn't say that, but yeah.
And they said,
obvious.
we don't want to offend these Chinese government people because we make a lot of money in China off of our video games.
And that's what it's all about.
And so they told this guy that you're suspended. We're suspending you from the games. You're no longer able to participate in them, and you were banned. I think they banned him for like a year. Now, I think they undid that after some amount of outrage.
Pressure, sure. But I mean, a gamer is going to get a heck of a lot more outrage from people online than some talk show host.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but my point being that it's clear that these corporations are willing to play ball with the Chinese government and are very, very cautious about what they say because they have money to be made there in China. And now China's going a step further and saying that not only are we going to tell corporations what to do with the almighty yuan, but we're also going to tell every single individual in the world that if you speak out against us, the regime in China, you will not be allowed to come in, or possibly rounded up if you do.
Yeah, this is the scariest country in the world. I know the Democrats would love to make Russia out to be the big boogeyman, but frankly, they're a waning regional power. Not to say that they aren't doing bad stuff, but China is on the rise and getting more and more dangerous. Sorry. From what I've seen of Biden, he's just way too cozy with these people. You can't make me believe the Democrats care about China.
Gotcha.
Now, as far as the Republicans go, I tend to, I don't like Trump's relationship with China either.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else we need to know? We pretty much covered that story.
Yeah, I think that's it. The new law codifies and extends to non-Chinese nationals and extraterritorial practices that the Chinese Communist Party has long applied to its own citizens abroad. So another thing that's worth pointing out that you likely don't know, and many of our listeners don't, is that China determines whether you're Chinese or not.
Okay.
Not your nationality, not where you were born, not what your citizenship is, none of that stuff.
It's all about whether you're with the party.
No,
right?
It's all whether or not you're squinty-eyed or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they determine whether you're Chinese or not by their own standards, and then they will kidnap you, bring you back to China, and nationalize your business.
Gene, the Christian anarchist, who is a longtime visitor of China because his wife is from there, so they go back.
He's been there. I have not. I mean, unless you count the train station.
You went to Hong Kong.
Yeah, well, I went to the train station in China.
Oh, did you? Well, in Gene's case, he says he is not likely to return to China unless there are some serious changes. Now, this is a guy who's been there for like the last 30 years or plus of his life.
It's terrifying.
Regularly, he's gone to visit his family members there. And he does believe that a war with China is coming. The toll-free number.
Yeah, I don't know whose war it is. That's the question. Is that if it could be a proxy war or something, perhaps that's, I don't know. Maybe history will look favorably on that or whatever. Again, I've given my libertarian solution. My libertarian solution is, ladies and gentlemen, we should be welcoming the people of Hong Kong right now.
What about the rest of China?
And well, I think that Trump should stick with his previous thoughts on that, which is that if a person comes here to the United States and earns a degree at one of our universities, the last thing we should be doing is kicking them out.
And that's what Trump said, huh?
I mean,
good for him.
Well, previously, but not now.
Oh, really?
He's reneged on that.
Was this candidate Trump saying that?
I think this was Barack Obama hating Trump.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he sounded a lot more sensible back then.
Yeah. So, what I would do is at the very least in that 4 years, you can do some level of vetting to see whether or not this 20-year-old is a spy for the CCP. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible. I don't know whether they're going to get high-level government jobs or anything like that. I don't have any idea on this stuff. But I'm saying that somebody who comes here and gets a degree, even a higher degree, like a master's or a doctorate, and then you send them home, that's ridiculous. China will graduate 5 million STEM grads last year.
Lots more than the U.S., you mean?
The U.S. will graduate 500,000.
Wow.
That's 10 times as many, and they've got 4 times the population.
Yeah.
Now consider for a moment that those 500,000, 500,000 grads that the United States has are by and large of ethnic dubiousness, right? I mean, like, it depends on what you call an American, but when you think of an American, you tend to draw up this picture. And it isn't a Chinese person or an Indian person, right?
Okay.
And many of these people are Chinese or Indian, or they're of, their parents were Chinese or Indian. Now, I'm not saying that none of them matter, but, maybe the patriotism isn't exactly the same. A friend of mine over in Saipan, his dad still holds his Chinese passport because even though the government, he doesn't feel like the government represents him at all over there.
Mm-hmm.
He just feels attached to it.
It's home.
He's Chinese.
Yep.
And, I mean, I love the guy. I thought he was awesome. He was very hospitable to me and just thought he was great. But that one little fact kind of sticks in my craw.
What, the fact that he doesn't want to let go of the previous government?
The previous passport? Sure. He's been here for 40 years.
You know how people are about where they come from. They are irrational about it.
It's a crappy passport, too.
They love the place where they come from. It doesn't matter how awful it is.
I know.
For the most part.
That's the point I'm trying to make, though, is that people love the place they come from.
Yeah.
And,
it's entirely tribal and, very...
There's Irish American clubs in America. I mean, I wouldn't trust the members of the Irish American Club to keep state secrets from the state of Ireland, right?
Okay.
I would, if there was tension between Ireland and the United States, I would be kind of careful of telling somebody who clearly is very boisterous about his Irish heritage. I am a Irish heritage.
Gotcha.
That's the reason I'm using that particular example, because it's a little safer.
Gotcha.
But, I'm just saying the United States is way, 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 way behind. While China graduates 5 million STEM grads every year, U.S. college students are having a difficult time over which bathroom to use.
Yeah, it's true.
This bathroom doesn't have my pronouns on it.
Yeah, there was another video recently recorded of U.S. college students, of course, talking about how free speech should be restricted, and, we're in a bad way here. There's no doubt. The toll-free number...
These people are not prepared to fight China.
No. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What happens when a town issues its own wooden currency? Apparently it's happening in Washington State. No. Nickel ain't worth what it used to be,
So it's $5 bills.
$25.
Okay.
855-450-FREE.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have 2 convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our made in the USA microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part? Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MechTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
Free Talk Live.
So, yeah, Mark, they did ban all foreign flags from being flown in the event that they are the only flag being flown. But nonetheless, I mean,
it's the flying of a flag?
$50 fine and 30 hours of community service.
That's dumb. This doesn't really even affect
What do you think, this is the land of the free?
Most of the Mexican flags I see are CDs hanging from people's rearview mirrors, stickers.
I think we could qualify that.
That's not a flag.
It looks like a flag. Got them colors on it.
No.
We're going to
It's a
charge you
CD.
$50 fine. $50. That's
And
right.
that CD, what if the CD has music on it?
Don't matter. It's a flag.
It's not a flag. It's a CD.
If you're flying it
Clearly,
like a flag,
sir,
it's a flag, my friend.
It's not a flag. It's hanging from fishing wire from my rearview mirror.
Hanging equals flag.
No, hanging does not
flag
equal flag.
equals $50 fine. Pay up.
Well, I have a...
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want in these remaining moments. There's enough time for you to dial in now at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Or call in on our Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm, where you can interact with other Free Talk Live listeners. It's there as long as they allow us to have it, which they could decide to not soon, I guess, because they send threats.
Possibility exists.
So maybe we won't have it soon, but for now it's there, and you can enjoy it over at discord.lrn.fm, and you get what you pay for, right? It's a free service.
Yeah.
I guess there is like some sort of an upgrade that you can pay them for, but I don't know why you would do that.
Right. Well, they still have the same terms of service.
Right. They can still pull it right out from underneath you and then say, thanks for the money. So news.trust.org, which is apparently related to Reuters.
Okay.
Thomson Reuters Foundation's Gregory Scruggs reporting out of Washington State. Tenino, I don't know if it's Tenino or Tenino, Washington is where this is happening, tucked away under lock and key in a former railroad depot turned small town museum in the U.S. state of Washington. A wooden printing press cranked back to life to mint currency after nearly 90 dormant years.
Okay.
A wooden printing press. This is like technology that is beyond what I had ever heard of before. I mean, I presume it exists.
There was a previous, a decentralized fiat currency known as tally sticks existed in the past.
I heard about that.
This was throughout the sort of Mediterranean region. I can't say that I know everything about this, but they used clams at one point too.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's some historical precedent.
Well, apparently they had this printing press still, and they've actually utilized it to make a brand new product. $25 wooden bills bearing
they
the
certainly
town's
won't
name.
be mistaken for U.S. currency.
No. Bearing the town's name, Tenino, with the words COVID relief superimposed on an image of a bat and the Latin phrase Hibernus autumn sub potestat. We have it under control, is what that means.
Okay.
Printed in cursive on the bills.
So I'm pretty sure that COVID-19 wasn't mentioned on the original machines, so they must have changed out the
templates or whatever.
Something. Yeah.
This is a brand new design that they're doing here, and apparently it's got it's got a photo of George Washington on it as well.
It is Washington State, after all.
Yep. So you got Tenino, Washington underneath that. To the right, there's $25, and then a bat. I don't know if there's like a bat. Is that the state animal or something like that in Washington? Or maybe it's Tenino's. town animal or something. Why did they choose the bat? I don't know.
Does Keene have a town animal?
I don't have any idea. With the Keene is called the Elm City because it used to have a lot of elm trees and then they all died apparently. With the coronavirus pandemic,
the ash borer or something.
Plunging
Dutch
the
elm
United
disease.
States into a recession, which of course is the way the media likes to put it. The reality is there was a coronavirus, and the government plunged the United States into a recession by just destroying the ability to run a business. But they go on here talking about decimating small businesses and causing job losses across the country. Some local governments are looking for innovative ways to help residents weather the storm. For Tonino, the answer was the revival of the local currency that had bolstered the town's economy in 1931.
The state mammal for Washington State is the orca.
In the wake of the Great Depression. So they're bringing back something that they did in the early 1930s during the Depression. Mayor Wayne Fournier told the Thomson Reuters Foundation, quote, "It was kind of an epiphany. Why don't we do that again?"
Why don't we go to the town museum and crank up that old thing?
Yeah, it only made sense, he said. Tonino's a town of less than 2,000 people located about 60 miles southwest of Seattle. They started printing
It makes sense to try it.
They started printing the local banknotes in April, 5 weeks into Washington State's lockdown. Anyone with a documented loss of income as a result of the pandemic is eligible for up to $300 a month in the local currency.
Okay.
Businesses up and down the town's quaint Main Street accept the wooden note for everything except alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, and lottery tickets.
That's what I'm going to name my my convenience store I open up.
Alcohol, tobacco,
cannabis, and lottery tickets. Yeah.
ATCL.
Yeah. Could
use some work.
Yeah.
Tonino's city government backs the local currency, which merchants can exchange for U.S. dollars at City Hall at a 1-to-1 rate.
Okay.
So it's a welfare program. They've got there's government money in the city coffers. They're handing out these.
When the state comes in and shuts down your business and destroys your livelihood, it stops being a welfare program. At that point, it's restitution.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Unfortunately, this does not go. I don't know if this goes to business owners. Although I guess
it's what business owners go into City Hall with the little blocks of wood and they trade it in.
Right, but it's saying anyone with a documented loss of income. So I suppose a business owner could qualify to receive these. But the business owners are receiving them from the people who are getting them.
I believe how it goes is that people get the blocks of wood.
Yes.
They then spend them at the business.
That's correct.
And then the business goes to the town hall.
That's correct. That is how this is working. You have correctly assessed the situation.
Okay, so
that's what I'm saying. It's a welfare payment to the individuals.
I have a business in Tonino, right? And it is deemed non-essential by the state of Washington.
Yep.
The town of Tonino, which is a subsidiary of the state of Washington, determines that they have harmed me by shutting me down, and they give me money. I can document this. They've shut me down. It's not hard to document it. I get my bucks from the whomever hands these things out, and then I spin them around town, and then those people turn them back in. I see nothing wrong particularly with this. I see that people are once again forced into scenarios where they must live off of the state. The state intends to make itself indispensable.
Yeah.
So I'm not prepared to use the terminology like welfare to.
Is unemployment the $600+ that they were giving every week to people on unemployment, is that welfare? The bonus money?
Right. So welfare carries with it a term.
Stigma.
It is stigma. Yeah. It is a very narrow term, and it's a wide term all at the same time. So it's a narrow for sort of one program and wide for any program where the government gives you money. But it carries with it the stigma of sort of receiving the government money. If the government is making good for something that they harmed you on, I don't see a problem with that. If the government has determined that it must stimulate its economy by handing out money, and that it has decided that it was a big mistake to hand that money out to banks the last time, and this time they're going to hand it out to the little guy because the little guy will most assuredly spend it, whereas the banks simply held it as deposits, then that's the government doing what the government does. I don't see, again, a problem if a bank robber goes to the middle of town, he robs banks all around town and then goes to the middle of town and hands out $20 bills. Taking one of the $20 bills is not stealing from a bank.
No, I would agree with you there.
And
I'm not saying it's wrong to accept this money. I'm not trying to cast a judgment on the people that are doing this.
I know. I just want to make sure that it doesn't sound like we are. Fine. I'm not in a strict. I don't disagree with you, but I don't think that there should be. I'm not prepared to say that the people who are necessarily accepting it are bad.
I'm not saying that.
I will say that the unemployment program, as it is meted out by the government, giving out the $600 extra dollars
per week,
is a catastrophe. It's a ridiculous notion. You basically have to be making $25 an hour to just break even. So people making, say, $35 an hour have to weigh the notion of taking home, what is that, $200 extra dollars or not working.
So what's going on here, though, is interesting, Mark, because it's not your typical welfare in that, like the check coming from the government, you can spend on anything. Here, you can only spend it at local merchants.
Yeah.
And you can only spend it on things that are not alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, and lottery tickets. So it is, a bit of a restricted form of welfare that is intended to benefit the local economy. The executive director of the Schumacher Center for New Economics in Massachusetts said alternative currencies like Tonino's banknote are better than direct cash payments at boosting local economies. She said that the city of Barcelona gave donations to sports teams in 2017 and 18 and cultural groups as well as social programs, then watched the donations go to big box stores, she said. So they created a local currency so that these discretionary funds in their budget would circle back to support locally owned businesses. The mayor in Tonino noted that for the residents, the wooden notes are nothing new. The city founded around a sandstone quarry, achieved national prominence in 1931 when civic leaders printed a wooden local currency to restore consumer confidence after the town's bank failed during the Great Depression. Quote, "This is woven into the DNA of the community. My great-aunt Arlene has the family collection all stashed away."
Great Aunt Arlene.
Mayor brought the idea of resurrecting the town's legacy project to the city council, and they've done it. They've approved a proposal to issue up to $10,000. They've also even received donations, so they now have up to $16,000 that they can do. And so far, 13 residents have successfully applied for the funds, and $2,500 worth of the bills have been issued.
They got their own stablecoin.
It's interesting. We will talk to you tomorrow online. In the meantime, you can join us over at freetalklive.com.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,817, silver at $19.03, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,395. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, a police sergeant in Joliet, Illinois, has been stripped of his police powers and placed on administrative leave after he blew the whistle on the cover-up of the murder of a man who was effectively tortured to death by his fellow officers. The Mind Unleashed reports that community members are hailing the actions of whistleblower police sergeant Javier Butch Escueda, who was moved to reveal the grisly nature of the in-custody death of Eric Lurie, a black man from Joliet, who was choked to death in the back of a squad car in grueling footage captured on video. On Tuesday, protesters rallied around the Joliet Police Department, calling for justice for Lurie, while praising Sergeant Escueda, a 27-year veteran of the force who has faced retaliation after breaking the code of silence regarding what he sees as the criminal actions of his colleagues, reports CBS 2 Chicago. Joliet City Manager Steve Jones quit following a Tuesday City Council meeting, where the brutal events surrounding Lurie's death were discussed. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. The unprecedented implosion of U.S. commercial real estate during the coronavirus pandemic is likely to get worse, as newly delinquent CMBS loans are surging as the list of retail store closures continues to rise. TREP's June CMBS remittance report showed CMBS delinquencies hit a high of 10.32%, not seen since 2012. It was noted that the retail CRE loans were in rough shape. Many retail shops are heavily indebted. Some have already declared bankruptcy, while others are quickly shrinking their operating size by reducing store footprint to rein in cost as the virus-induced recession, blended with a plunge in consumption, along with a shift to online, is resulting in a rapid acceleration of the retail apocalypse. Coresight Research's latest forecast has upwards of 25,000 retail stores that could close by year-end. Major defense firms have for years, especially since the post-9/11 so-called war on terror, raked in billions of dollars in lucrative and very often wasteful government contracts, are begging the federal government for more COVID-related